Hello, my biddies. How are you? I'm good. What's up with you today? I know I'm really late, but I made a decision today. So a big announcement. I'm not doing reality roundup anymore. It takes too much time and effort. It's always hanging over my head. It's annoying me. It's making me have anxiety about it. We'll still gossip about reality TV, don't get me wrong. But doing watching it, I have to watch it twice. I have to take notes. I have to do all kinds of stuff. And it's not giving me joy. So I'm not going to do it. We can still talk about it. We'll talk about it. Don't worry. Um, but we'll do it as I watch it. So I can go back to enjoying it because it was getting to where I hated it. So no more reality roundup. Sorry. Not going to happen. Um, how are you? We had elections yesterday. I didn't really care about the governor election in my state because I didn't like, I wasn't thrilled about either option. So I'm okay with the outcome. I'm fine with it. I don't know if I'm fine with the other one, to be honest. Um, but I didn't vote in it. Uh, but Abdullah Sayed won the uh, senator's race, Democratic primary for senator. Very happy about that one. Thrilled, even. So what's happening in your neck of the woods? Do you have a Democratic? He's not even a Democratic socialist. He doesn't call himself that. Everybody else is calling him that, but he does not call himself that. Just because he's endorsed by Democratic Socialists doesn't mean he is one. Democratic Socialists endorse a lot of people that aren't Democratic. Oh, they're Democratic Socialists. So we'll see what happens with the maggot versus the Democratic Socialist come November. That should be interesting. By the way, he had like no money compared to what she was getting from IPAC. None. And she was being mean. She was just vicious. Did you see her ex? Let me see if I can get back there. See if I can find her post to show it to you. I need to do that. This is not the right one. I wonder if she took it off. She might have taken it down. I think she took it down. Anyway, she was being really mean, bragging about her wins that she had. Which, like, where are you at now, girl? That did not age well. Aged like milk. Aged like bad milk. So anyway, those are the two main ones here. I guess. I don't remember who else I voted for. I did the best I could. It's only a primary, so it doesn't really matter. It's all made up and the points don't matter. So what's going on in your state? um, yeah, it should be interesting. I'm sure Al Sayed won't have any money again for the general election compared to his opponent, who will have all of the money. And we'll see how that goes. Oh, what else going on? I don't know. I don't know what else is going on. Um, I bought something I can't use, so that's always fun. I'll probably take it back. I'll take it back or give it to one of the kids. I don't know. I give it to my daughter. She tends to spend a lot of time in bed, and it might help her. She's a sweetie. Love her. Love all my kids. Um. Oh, it was WB's birthday on Saturday, and we went and rode trains. We went and rode little trains. There's a park where I live that has um, little trains. Oh, and I did vigilante. I was vigilante. Um, they were having the trains that they have twice a month there, every other weekend, and then the opposing weekends they go to a different park. Um, but that's all he wanted to do for his birthday, so that's what we did. Uh, his little brother opened all of his presents before he even got out of bed, so that was fun. Silly little brother. Like he's 3. He's not even 3. He'll be 3 in a week and a half or so. Like, dude, you can't just leave things out for kids. You have to hide these things from them. You have to hide stuff from little kids. Apparently, hopefully they learned their lesson this time. He also wanted to open the gift that we gave them, and he was told no. And he had, he sulks. He didn't have a fit, but he did sulk. It's not your gift, dude. But it's good for little kids to learn that early. That's not your gift and you don't get to open it. It's not your cake and you don't get to put your fingers in it. It's not your party and you can't run it. It's somebody else's time to shine. And that's okay for kids to learn. They need to learn that they're not the center of attention all the time. But so he got to ride all of the different trains. There were 3 different trains. There were 2 diesels, a red one and a blue one, and there was also a steam engine, which he really, really wanted to ride. So he did get to ride that a couple of times, I think. He was just it's free. It's free. Well, I mean, you can give him a donation, which we did. We always do. But it's free to the public. So you can ride as much as you want as long as the line is, so he would get off and get back in line, get off and get back in line, take his ride, get off, make it back in line for hours. There's also a big play place there, playscape, uh, and a huge sandbox with half of the sand's out of the box. There's also a Shakespeare festival going on next to it, and apparently we overheard the guys talking. They're like, "Remember the year that the Shakespeare festival just tore up the tracks?" Like, oh my goodness, the audacity! Why would you do that? It's so weird. And then I saw, so here's my vigilante moment. I was with the little one at the little kids play area, and I see this car backing up into a spot, and they had put extra handicap parking signs up because I assume um because they had the Shakespeare thing going on, because I didn't they had a thing that was like children's therapy, but I didn't see a lot of like physically handicapped people there, physically challenged people there. Um, so I don't think it was for that, although it might have been. I don't know. But anyway, these people are backing up into a spot, and I backed up into the handicap spot. And I'm like, well, maybe they have somebody that's handicapped with them. They get out of the car, everybody looks fine. But there are invisible handicaps. I'm not going to judge because my daughter might be in that situation one day. I might be in that situation one day. Um, so I look back at the car and the handicap sign's gone. So after like telling my kids what happened to my husband, um, my daughter's like, well, I'll go over there and fix it. I'm like, no, I'm the one that saw it. I'll go fix it. So I went over and they had flung the sign like several feet away from the car next to a tree. So I picked up the sign. I couldn't put it back in the ground because the ground was too hard. It was really hard. So I just set it up against their car. Like the audacity of people. Like, how dare you do that? I was mad because the cops had left because there had been a couple of cops there earlier. And they were there for a good half hour, 45 minutes, chit chatting with the people who had the pavilion, the therapy place that had the pavilion. But how dare you do that? That is not your parking space. There was plenty of parking. There was a whole other parking lot that we had to park in. It wasn't that far away. And you're able-bodied, you can walk. How dare you? My children were all um, appropriately appalled, and I was happy I was proud of them. But just like, oh, people like make me so mad. Like, you don't know that somebody's grandma's not going to need that parking spot. Oh, it's just it makes me angry. It makes me angry. And I'm not in the best shape, but I walked it. So you can walk it. You can walk it, little girl. It was two women, no more than and no more than 40, and two little kids. They could have walked. They could have easily walked. Would not have hurt them a bit. Might have helped one of them actually. So anyway, that's what I did. We're going to be going slow today because I have not done my work for the week. I did my work for the month. I've not gotten to my work for the week. The work for the month took extra time because I didn't do it until yesterday. So I had days that I had to go look up information on because it wasn't popping up for me. And some of these are probably going to be going to pop up next week too, next month too. Although next month I better get it done early. I better ignore the last of the month instead of the first of the month because next month I won't be here the whole first week. I won't be on the whole first week. I'm taking that week off. So that's what we're doing. I might have to take my computer in the other room with me. Okay. So first up we have Petty Revenge, and it is entitled, Sorry, I'm Just a Typical Woman. A long time ago, I worked as a receptionist at a law firm where I took and transferred calls, greeted guests, and led them to correct briefing rooms. I just moved into that town, so I didn't know the area well. One day, this man with a distinct voice called, already sounding irritated before I asked how I could help him. That's always fun because you know it's going to go bad because they're already mad at you, even though you haven't even talked to them. And he wanted to tell him directions from a town over that I've never been to our office. I politely told him that I wasn't familiar with that area offhand, but if he could hold a minute, I would look up directions on my computer for him. I've done this before too. Like they perfectly capable of doing this on their own, but he literally screamed in my ear, typical stupid woman can't even tell directions, and hung up on me. Oh well, I thought that was rude and then forgot about it. About 20 minutes later, a guy came blustering through the door in the same distinct voice, demanded that I tell him the way to the interview room, as he was already late for an interview. I knew it was the same guy I talked to before and he had the exact same voice. I said, "I'm sorry, sir, but I'm just a typical woman and I can't tell directions." He turned beet red and stood there for a minute. I could tell he knew exactly what happened and that he was talking to the same person he yelled at earlier. He stomped off down one of the hallways and obviously didn't get the job because I never saw him again. Oh, that's excellent. So misogynistic. What the heck? I'm glad he didn't get the job because that would have been horrible. Delulu for drama is a top rated comment, and she says, he sounds like an HR nightmare, bullet dodged. Null G. Ward says, a decent law firm's the opinion of the receptionist and other staff should factor into whether a lawyer gets hired. That should happen anywhere. Anywhere. There are a lot more lawyers than jobs, and no one wants to work next to a jerk. Happy Sparky Unicorn answers, I know a guy who worked in a small boutique consulting firm, and while he was the owner, he also worked reception whenever the receptionist had their lunch break. He said it was interesting the way they treated him when they thought he was a receptionist. Yeah, they treat you like dirt. Ed had said he was about 60, and their office was pretty well-to-do area, so I expect a lot of people look down on him at best. Kathy Cat says, my dentist does the same. I didn't know I was talking to him when asking about a new dentist office that just opened. He was so nice and polite. Been there with them ever since. That's awesome. Yeah, if you get a good dentist, stick with them. My dentist told me if you go to a dentist and they tell you have a bunch of cavities, run. He said, because you don't, and you're very consistent. Miserable Flower says, a man who couldn't figure out directions yelled at a woman for not knowing directions. Not particularly self-aware, was he? Exactly. Don't yell at somebody for not knowing the directions that you don't know. I mean, seriously. We're going slowly because I'm doing these as we go. Because like I said, I didn't do my work today. I didn't do my work for today. 13. This is from Am I Overreacting and is entitled AIO. A woman messaged me about my partner and I'm very concerned. I only know who you are because man has posted you on his page years ago. He's blocked me many times. He also tried to get a hold of him over time through the years. I was talking to him before you entered the picture, not that him and I had a relationship. I've had many dreams of you, and what's going on between you two has become my business. No, it hasn't. No, it hasn't. I had another dream which I thought it to be you and him. You guys were in this place. It was a broken wall. The woman had on a short skirt with a devil's tail, cosplay attire, I'm assuming. You guys were intimate in this moment. You're having dreams about other people having sex. That's disgusting. In one of these dreams, definitely over a year ago, he was looking at his screen and you were tugging on his black trench coat. I'll make you aware of my most recent dream. Days ago, you were looking through a black bag. It seemed to be his. Another point in the dream, you were reading a paper out loud in a living room. I didn't hear all of the wording, but I know I heard kids. Years ago, I went to the hospital. The odd part about all this is that after I got out, I had to dream of you being at the hospital with him. Now, the spirit in my dream around the time he made me aware of you and first posted you years ago, I heard a woman's voice telling me he's my boyfriend. She sounded angry, and I didn't see a face. I assumed it to be you. Seems to me what's gone on isn't good either. It's captioned. What is going on here? Should we be concerned about stalking? I don't think there's any more than the one. No, there's just the one. Should I be concerned about stalking? Yes, definitely. I've never spoken with her before, nor have I responded to those messages. I'm concerned for him. There will be giving psychosis. My backstory: I, 25 female, boyfriend, 24 male, met a girl on Facebook dating, and talked to her on and off before we met. She lives in another country, though only about 5 or 6 hours away. When we got together, he blocked her, and she has repeatedly made new accounts to contact him on various social media platforms. She's even tried to call him from various phone numbers. Once while we were together, prompting him to respond to her on VSCO. Weird. To let her know that he's in a relationship and has no desire to converse with her. Cut to a year later, she made new accounts messaging him from uh, to message him from, and now has broken the fourth wall and messaged me. Edit to respond to comments. I certainly have locked everything down as soon as I received messages. Unfortunately, she was likely online stalking us for years before she finally contacted me. So I fear she already has all the info she would need to track us down. From location tags on IG posts to Google Maps satellite imaging. I don't know if it's possible to file any kind of report because she hasn't done anything that can be interpreted as illegal unless messaging repeatedly is actually considered harassment in my jurisdiction, which I doubt. Exactly. Even if she was harassing you, they probably wouldn't do anything because this is super minor. Unless she's threatened you or actually contacted you in person. You can make a report just for paperwork's sake. That wouldn't hurt, but they're not going to do anything. Also, the fact she lives in another country. I genuinely don't know what else I could actually do other than monitor the situation and try to be vigilant of my surroundings. I don't even want to even have to worry about this nonsense. I also haven't blocked her or replied. I leave my red receipts off. I feel blocking her may be interpreted as though she should try harder to reach me. Leaving it unread feels like the option would create the least amount of fiction / incentive to escalate. Top comment is from Slow Lunch. What's going on between you now is my business. No, it's not. Didn't I just say that? This woman sounds mentally unwell. Definitely do not engage or reply. Just block her and on everything. I have dealt with with a guy I actually knew. I tried to reason with him or talk him down from his delusions. Didn't get anywhere, and he just got even more obsessive. I also was concerned for his mental health, but he wouldn't listen and refused to get help. Prioritize your own well-being and do not engage. Exactly. Monsters says, this is the answer. Any engagement, even negative, is seen as an invitation to continue. Yeah. The apothecary wall says, second type rate comment. What's going on between you has become my business. What the actual wang? Ryan says, I'd be like, in your dreams, biatch. So the Cad says, this is the problem though. She's sure having a lot of dreams. Right? Like yes, it is in her dreams. And now she's spilling it over into reality. People, don't take your dreams seriously. You're not a prophet. Honestly, you're not. Like, dreams are just your unconscious mind, like working crap out in your head. It means nothing in the real life. You can dream. I know of people who like to dream about their partners cheating on them, and then they get mad at the partner because of the dream. Like, it's so silly. Like, stop it. I understand the reaction, but it's silly. And your rational brain needs to take over at some point. Because otherwise you're being irrational. Stop it. Velvet Potato is the third top rate comment, and she says, this person seems to be experiencing a form of mental illness. Yes, at the very least, this person has a parasocial relationship with you and your partner. I'd be very wary of somebody like this. There's no telling how far their delusions may take them. Mighty Lord Redbridge says, it looks almost identical to things my wife will text me when she's having an episode. She has schizophrenia symptoms brought on by her MS. She's medicated, but still will occasionally have manic episodes when she's delusional and talks like this and will send multiple people messages like this. So OP, just ignore it. Don't engage, don't respond, just ignore it. That's your best you can do from my experience. When my ex is like this, I'll just ignore the delusions and respond to the sensible things she says. Wife in another life answers him saying, I was just about to say this. My baby dad's ex did this for years. She went on and pulled all my information with a Google search and was able to find my address and everything else she wanted to know. It's not hard. It's not difficult to find people on the internet at all. When as far as texting my parents, when I had a child, I filed my second protection order on her where the courts granted a 1,000-foot radius restrictions between us. That's like a big restriction. 1,000 feet. Usually it's 500. I mean, 1,000 feet is like giant. That's a football field. That's a long distance to have to stay away from someone. To which they were unable to serve her with. I think my biggest regret was ever contacting her to begin with. My biggest piece of advice would be to not even respond ever. It's all fun and games until it is an edit. What is Nor? Everyone is commenting. Also, this started in my hometown, but she moved to Kentucky 6 months or so into our relationship. The harassment went on for 2 years or so, literally until the day I pushed our daughter out. Last thing I remember, the first time filing enforcement acted as if they could get in contact with the law enforcement from her town. I'm pretty sure called her and told her to leave me alone. My BD put me through so much trauma, it's all a blur now. But definitely getting a restraining order / this documented. I would document it. I don't think you're going to get a restraining order from this. Next is entitled people. 13. 13 is how many episodes or how many episodes I'm having this month. Just so you know. This is entitled Gym Patron Refuses to Leave Once Closing Time is Called. Did they think it was 24/7 gym? Maybe. Starting on June 8th last month, signs were posted at the front desk and door saying, July 3rd, the gym I work for will be closing at noon for the 4th and will reopen July 6th. Emails were also sent and gym members were told at the end of their training sessions. Okay, that's all you should have to do. Actually, just sign on the door was enough, because if they're coming up, they can see the sign on the door and say, oh yeah, I got this much time to work out, and then I'm going to have to leave. A lot of people took notice, all except one today. When 11:50 rolled in, my boss announced over the PA system, we will be closing in 10 minutes. Please finish your workout in a safe manner, and we will see you on Monday. Thank you all, and have a safe 4th of July, everyone. The one person finished what I observed to be their last repetition of bicep curls, wipes down the weights and bench, puts the dumbbells back, but then has the nearby bench set up doing a chest press with bar. I walk up and say, excuse me, we're closing soon. Guy I can tell is ignoring me through music on his headphones. I get an air horn used to alert gym members if they're breaking the rules. I blast it, which makes this guy unplug his headphones. He said, whoa, what's with the air horn? I didn't break any rules. I told him we're closing in 7 minutes. You need to leave. We'll be open again on Monday. Guy shrugs me off and goes to get weight plates. I remove the bar, and when he returns, he asks me what my problem is. It'll only be a few minutes. I tell him again we're closing, and he refuses to leave. I go to a nearby phone and call my boss and say we got a straggler. My boss makes her presence be seen and tells the guy that if he doesn't leave, she'll call the police and have him escorted out and charged with trespassing. And then you lose your gym membership. Why didn't you just leave? You're gonna lose your gym membership, dude. At the very least, that should be the minimum consequence for right now. Losing your gym membership. They get into an intense stare off with the guy eventually leaving the locker room and then leaving the building. My boss said she'd look over security footage on Monday and have the front desk do a cross-reference to find which member he is and issue a suspension of his membership. Update. We have an update. So just to clarify, one commenter, I didn't blast the air horn in the guy's face. I was a good distance away, or I knew the sound would travel towards him and he would have to hear me. To other commenters, a business, though they say they'll close at one time, they can certainly close earlier if needed to make sure there are no loose ends left to be dealt with after being closed for a few days, such as leftover trash, discarded Gatorade Powerade water bottles, etc. For those who defended my boss for telling the guy it was time to go, thank you. If they tell you it's time to go, it is time to go. It is time to change. You've got to rearrange your schedule. Inwood says suspension of membership is the only thing he'll understand. To get into a staring contest with your boss says everything about his attitude. Physical answers, especially a female boss who's trying to intimidate her. Exactly. And that would never work with me. People like that make me mad, so I will stare them down. Pedal to metal is the second type ready comment, and they say, oh, he's one of those gym rats. God forbid for just one session he can't complete his workout. Like, dude, arrive earlier. Exactly. Profane Echo says, it's a great way to treat entitled fools happy first. And they also say you have a good manager. Yeah, it's a good manager. She backed him up, backed her up. I don't know. It's a her. So the two women backed each other up. That's so rude. I can't even. I like doing it like this. Get a little break in between. You can go get, grab a drink or something. You won't be that far behind. I won't use the other thing for anything other than putting stuff up anyway. The only bad part is if something got removed by Reddit or deleted by somebody, then I have to go look it up. I have to do extra work to look it up. But I do that before anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. This is from Murdered by Words, and it is entitled A Bitter Pill to Swallow About AI. Mira something says, the Wachowskis spent $36 million on The Matrix. I recreated their iconic subway fight scene in less than 10 minutes. It's an AI thing. Father Nathan said, you didn't create this. A group of people stole the millions the Wachowskis invested to dump into supercomputers that allow you to write a series of prompts, and then you pretend that everything is remotely the same. You've created nothing. You've accomplished nothing. You've stolen everything. Have a fake day. Good for you. Daniel is bored. It's kind of in quotes. Da Vinci took months to paint the Mona Lisa, but I took a picture of it in a second. That's about it. Total Esherbot says, I don't get why AI creators feel a sense of pride and accomplishment. What they're really doing is rewarding their sentences until the bot does what they want it to do. And rewording sentences is something we praise 5-year-olds for doing. Exactly. Man Moshe answers, to be fair, with the standards of education these days, getting a 15-year-old to reword sentences is chore. Partly as they just ask at winging ChatGPT to do it for them. Chloe Granola says their scene will be watched for years from now, while yours will be forgotten as soon as it's scrolled past. Exactly. HD says this is a stupendous murder on its own. Alfedner says, also, what the AI put out was a copy of the original film. It's essentially like letting you create a Xerox copy of an existing artwork. Exactly. It's just a copy. Furbano says, what happened to stressing the importance of not plagiarizing things? Any AI program is the ultimate plagiarizer. Exactly. Exactamundo. Next, we have Traumatize Them Back. It is entitled Bully Me and My BSF Get Covered in Milk. Hello, everyone. I'm not entirely sure this is the right subreddit for the story, but I can't find a better one. Let's get into it. Trigger warning for bullying. When I, 14 female at the time, was in middle school, I was horribly bullied and attacked. Middle school is the worst. It is the worst. Sixth grade is the worst, but middle school is the worst. If you were bullied in elementary school or high school more than you were bullied in middle school, I'm sorry for that, and you are the exception to the rule. Not saying it's good. It's not a good exception, but you are the exception to the rule. I had rocks thrown at me. Someone tried to drown me because I'm a gotcha kid. I don't know what that means. What's a gotcha kid? Let's find out. A gotcha kid is an internet slang term for a person who grew up playing casual, mobile character creation storytelling games at Gacha Life or Gacha Club. So why would you be bullied for that? That sounds fun. Honestly, that sounds fun. I've been jumped, and once someone tried to set me on fire. Yikes. Plus all the other weight comments, look comments, and homophobia. I was a gender lesbian who's realized I'm omnisexual trans man. So middle school was a horrible time for me, and it did not help that my school loved to act like they couldn't do anything. Remember this line. I hate schools like this. I hate it. Also, the kids who are getting bullied are the ones that get in trouble for it. Like, what are we doing, society? One day, me and my best friend, who I'll call M, I'm trying to see if M was a guy or a girl. I don't know. We'll call them Mike because that'll cover both. That is a name for both girls and boys. Is a short for Michael and Michaela. One day, me and my best friend, who I'll call Mike to conceal their identity, were eating breakfast in the cafeteria. The tables were divided by a little line in the middle so they can fold. Yeah, I'm familiar with those tables. And us kids just acted like it was a whole new table. These kids in the classic, I'm a guy, so I'll do what I want, sat at the other end of the table on the other end of the line, okay? Me and Mike tried to ignore them when they started throwing cheese sticks at me. Anyone who's been in the American education system has the fortune of feeling how sharp those cheese stick wrappers can be. They are kind of sharpy. They're kind of pokey. They would be pokey. I can understand that. It kind of hurt. Nobody did anything, not even the two teachers in the room. I actually looked at one of the teachers and they looked me dead in the eyes and did nothing. Why? Why would you not get in trouble? Doesn't matter that it's bullying. Like, they're throwing stuff in the cafeteria. Make them stop. I was going to just sit down and take it when they started throwing cheese sticks at my best friend. Now, I know this will sound stupid, but I've always struggled to advocate for myself. However, I will always get defensive and a bit overprotective for my friends and those I love. So in my teenage brain, in all its wisdom and lack of thinking from seeing these a-holes be rude to my best friend, I opened my milk carton and dumped it on the leader. It was glorious. Until I started crying. I don't know how to regulate emotions. So whenever I get overly upset, I start crying. So do I. That's okay. We can cry. It's fine. I cry more when I'm mad than when I'm sad, to be honest. But glorious nonetheless. I got up to leave, and Mike was comforting me when a few other girls in our grade came up and thanked me. Turns out these boys were bullying so many girls. This is why victory felt really good, because I was apparently protecting other girls. The behavior specialist did end up suspending me for a few days. The boys got no punishment, but thankfully Mike didn't get in trouble when they tried to punish them. The gold, and yes, there is more glory on top of this, was that my mom, my emotionally unavailable, very mean, emotionally draining, abusive mom, defended me. And while I was suspended, I wasn't in trouble at home. I'm not a mean mom, but we would have been going out for ice cream, sweetie. I would do it all again. I shouted to Mike for being my amazing best friend and helping me calm down, though. Shout out to Mike, sorry. Ms. Colomaro says if you take a cheese slice from the school lunch, they're pretty easy to throw and will stick to the target. Good on you for sticking up for your friend. Once bullies see that you have a backbone, they usually back off. If they don't get the reaction they want, it isn't fun for them. Take care of yourself. Maroon Grad is the second top rated comment. They say, you know what? You have a lawsuit here, and all the girls do too. It's federal law, or was. This has to be checked now because of idiots in the White House. That you can simply not you cannot sexually harass or bully girls at school. And girls can't bully boys at school either. It goes both ways. They are entitled to an equal educational opportunity. The teacher saw and did nothing. Please contact the ACLU and start getting in touch with other girls via Facebook or whatever you use. I think that time has passed. A story from high school in 89, 90. Yeah, I'm old. I'm also a teacher. Report this crap. It's almost certainly within statute of limitations. I doubt it. Any girl who left due to bullying can get a big payout and should. The bullies will have to go to court and defend their behavior. Consequences are nasty, and they're going to happen starting with every female coworker that these guys have gone after and every college girl they've assaulted. They almost never stop entirely until they graduate and keep it up until mid-20s adults. Social pressure makes them sneakier about it, or they grow a conscience of some kind. My high school story, Springfield, Missouri. I sat in biology class with a friend and a boy a year older who sat behind us and grabbed our boobs. Nice, nice. We told the teacher he moved the guy. Nothing else happened until 2 years later when he sexually assaulted, in the worst possible way, one of his victims in the bathroom. After all, nothing had happened with any other assaults. He'd tested the waters and found them clear so far. I don't know what happened to him. I moved away, but came back 3 years later for college and caught up with some old friends, and it had been a big thing that happened. A big thing that happened was all capitalized. Not all caps, all capitalized. I have no tolerance for this behavior, and the school I taught at ignored a middle school boy who walked in on a table of 3 girls and started joking about. We gotta find a word for other than grape, because I don't like that one. Talked about saying them in the worst possible manner. Other male student quickly got involved and intimidated the boys away. The girls were shocked. I reported it. They reported it. Nothing happened. Yeah, this is how you get SA like in my college. Guys learn that they can get away with it. Other guys learn that it should be ignored and tolerated. In that college, we had 4 frats. 2 were totally safe, good guys. You pass out drunk and you wake up on the couch with a blanket and someone brings you a glass of water. That was never me on the couch, but the frats were on it. One guy left the main room with a girl, and a few seconds later, one of the frat council members would be meandering up the stairs behind to check on things and make sure all was well. That's awesome. There are good men out there, even good young men. The third one, you had to keep an eye on. You kept an eye on each other. Most of the guys were okay, but if one wasn't, the others wouldn't do anything. The fourth one, we had to go to a mixer, dances between sorority and frats, with them once a year. They were banned from separating from the group, and it was always in groups of 2 or more, period. You break that, and you had half dozen council members running to rescue you and escort you back to your dorm. Why? They'd like to essay and then lie to the cops about it. When I say essay, I mean the R word, RABE. I'm gonna start calling it rapier, because that is a actual word. It's a kind of sword, so it kind of works. Because otherwise you get dinged by stupid Facebook or stupid YouTube. Yeah, your group of boys is heading down that same path. I've twice seen what turns into. You deserve a safe education, period. All girls do. Your school knowingly and willingly allowed this to happen. They just didn't expect you to know enough to do something about it. Do something, please. If you aren't comfortable doing this or nowhere near the state, much less city it happened, at least send a link to this post to some of the other harassed girls and hopefully one of them can do something about it. If you are a recent, last few years grad, those same teachers and admins are still there and this is still happening. That's true. Time for a letter to the school board. Multiple letters, every girl you know, all four or 8 or 92 need to send a paper letter or email to the school board detailing what happened and CCing it to everyone else. Name names, dates, times, locations, events, and who saw it happen. Heads will roll, and then the ACLU can mop up and get involved. What does BSF stand for? I've seen BF and BFF before. TD answers, I guess it's best school friend. Oh, that makes sense. It's best friend, B-E-S-T. B, capital B, E, S, S, capital S, T, capital F-R-N-E-N-D. Best friend. I had not seen that. I don't know what's wrong with BFF. Or BF. Boyfriend. BF is boyfriend. So BSF makes sense, I guess. I would call it BTF, but you have to take the first and last letter. Fun Pain says, hang on, the school could punish you, but not the boys. They answer, they punished me because the milk made a mess to clean and the cheese didn't. That's dumb. Okay. Yeah, the way school let people bully people is ridiculous. I'll win a mine right at the moment. I don't know why I know so many. I have 21 of the, what should I do? I don't even know why. I only need 13. I need 15 just in case, but I really only need 13. And I have 21 of them. That's okay. I read them later and then I pick out ones to like read on for extras. For when we have extra episodes. And of course it was deleted. That's okay. We can find it. Oh, come on. Stop it. Oh, I forgot an L. That's why it's not working. Sure, it is spelled with an L, in case you're wondering. There we go. Yeah, I can find it. This is from What Should I Do? And it is entitled, I caught my wife texting a guy. Should I confront him? Depends. I, 47 male, found my wife, 45 female, texting another guy today. We've been together 9 years. I went to give her a hug from behind and saw her texting someone. Decided to watch for a few minutes, seconds out of curiosity, saw the name, and that was someone from her work. Then asked her who Cal is. She jumped and said it was her female coworker that bought her a shampoo. Okay, that's sketchy. Maybe Cal is a girl though. But she quickly showed me. I knew something was off. The name was a guy's name for a start. I just said, "Is Cal a girl?" Which she responded, "Yes." Then I went to finish making dinner while I set the laundry. Then I went to the laundry room. I couldn't help myself. As I opened the door, I see a melting face, heart eyes emoji on her screen, which she quickly locked. I asked her to let me see her phone, and she said no. I never have secrets, and our phones are always open to each other until now. Eventually, she admitted she won't show me because I won't like it, but it's just flirting and nothing else. Okay, she shouldn't be flirting with anyone. Finally, she opened it, and I see a handful of texts, everything until today deleted, but enough to know that he wants her. I get mad, and she says it's only a week and nothing has happened. Finally, she says he gave her a lift home, told me she Ubered, and he tried to kiss her, but she stopped him. I call BS and I kick her out. Wow, that's a strong reaction. We have two kids, a 5-year-old and my 14-year-old stepdaughter that's hers. They stay. 14-year-old stepdaughter does not stay with you, sir. No, that's her kid, not yours. She looked up texts in my I look up the text on my online account. They first started texting a month ago. I messaged and asked if she's telling me the truth about the timeline. She said she already told me. I'll just believe what I want anyway. She's 6 to a week. My mind is made up that the trust is gone. I mean, that's fair. I text the guy at work, which is a supermarket, that he's a piece of crap. He reads but doesn't respond. Good for him, because he shouldn't. You had no reason to confront him. Your problem is with your wife, not with the other guy. Your problem is with your wife. She's the one that cheated. This guy may not even know you exist. You don't know. I want to go there this week and make a scene. Don't do that. That's stupid. Oh my gosh. Call him out in front of his coworkers. He's married with a kid, and I'd love his wife to know. How should I proceed? Uh, Proceed with telling his wife. Leave him alone. Other than that, Fogwave says find a social and just send screenshots of him texting your wife to his wife. Crashing out in a supermarket will do absolutely no good on your behalf. Yeah, you're liable to get arrested. Quantity answers. Yeah, don't blow up the supermarket, man. That's all gonna do is make you look like the bad guy, while they get to play victim and keep it calm and handle it the smart way. L. Charles Vane says divorce, get a lawyer, and you show up at the guy's work and you think that it happened. A woman cheating on you isn't worth getting arrested over. Exactly. Who is a naughty boy answers this. What good is confronting the POS? North Spider-Man 4 says, we know, but the POS is his wife and he's missing it. Exactly. Candid Duck says, your priority is your children, child. He has one child. The other child is his wife's child, not his. I mean, yeah, he's a stepdad, not a dad. So she will go with his wife. 14-year-old will go with the wife. You'll need to focus on their physical and emotional security. If the marriage is over, talk to an attorney. Dark King just puts a target there. Target emoji. Yeah, just get a divorce, dude. Just call a divorce lawyer. It's all you need to do. I mean, the trust is gone. They're not coming back from that ever. Next, we have malicious compliance. No, we don't. We don't have enough for that one. We'll have malicious compliance next week. Next, we have legal buildings. I hate it when I open a Google Doc and it's not where it's supposed to be and it's like empty and I'm like, oh gosh, did I miss it? Did I miss it? Because it seems like I missed it. I didn't. You're all good. This is the New Nanguan Catholic Church in Shenyang, China, also called Sacred Heart of Jesus Cathedral in Shenyang. I think the color is what makes it look a little yellow. I mean, it's a beautiful church, it's just really dark. It's really dark. That gold statue is not helping. Copyright comment is from Duke Deverock, and they say how somehow the skyscraper look behind looks more evil. Does it? Yeah, I don't know. Joe, Joe to Nowhere says totally. It looks like it's leaning over to eavesdrop on someone. Sky Imagination Light says this image looks like it's from a trailer for a movie where a heartless antagonistic corporation inside the tall building in the back wants to destroy the black church and is surrounding the neighborhood to build something extremely expensive and financially wasteful there. The black church, which is a key part of the history of the neighborhood, is also the home of the main character, protagonist priest, who is also the leader of the low-income residents who are opposed to the proposed plan for the neighborhood. GMT says, why do I feel like I've seen this? Joe to Nowhere says, it's the church painted black or clad with black material. It reminds me of many buildings of Britain that used to be covered with coal soot. A good scrubbing and they look good as new. Matt, the tuba guy, says, considering the whole church looks uniformly black, I think the church is built with black, probably volcanic stone. So it is it's concrete and brick structure with the surface clad in plain blue bricks. This one, Shastford blue bricks, look similar. So they're really dark blue bricks. They're not blue. They're dark blue, almost black. Do you like your bricks? Let me know. Let me know in the comments. Or if you're here, you can put it in the chat. Chat is always open. You should always join live. Always. Next is AITAH and is entitled AITAH for telling my brother that she shouldn't have 5 kids if he wanted to go on as many holidays as my family. No, that seems fair. I, 35 male, have a wife, 35 female. We have 2 children, 7 female and 3 male. My brother, 37 male, has a wife, 37 female. They have 5 children, 10 male, 8 female, 6 male, 4 female, and 1 female. So they started having children before you and they're still having kids. Me and my brother are both high earners. We earn a similar amount of money each year, so it's not like there's a huge financial divide between us. My wife and I could afford to raise a large family. However, we decided to stop having kids after our second was born. Mentally, we know how to know that we could only handle raising 2 human beings. That's fair. Everybody has their limit. There's some people's are higher. And we want to give the 2 kids we have the best life possible. We live in England. We live comfortably in our 3-bedroom house. We have a standard 5-seater car. But with the money I earn, I love to take my family traveling. We are able to afford to travel multiple times a year, and we travel during the school holidays or whenever there's a bank holiday, we try to go on extended weekend trips. I am self-employed, so I am able to afford a good chunk of time off as long as I plan my finances correctly. Sounds fine. My brother and his wife decided to have 5 kids, which is fine. They can comfortably afford to raise 5 kids, and they don't struggle as a family. They manage to go on holiday once a year, which is a privilege in itself. But my brother has less money at the end of each month because providing for a family of 7 is naturally more expensive than providing for a family of 4. Of course. So this means he doesn't have as much money to travel as much as my family does. Okay. I also don't think he has mental energy to take 5 kids on a trip so frequently. Yeah, it takes a lot of, well, not just mental energy, it takes brain and physical energy too. Whereas me and my wife tend to find traveling with only 2 kids fairly manageable, especially now that my youngest is 3, because there are 2 parents and 2 kids, and we are not numbered. Even if you have one more kid, it's not that bad. Once you get to 4, where each parent has 2 kids to handle, it gets a little more difficult. Plus, as a family of 4, my wife and I tend to be able to find holiday packages, and we are able to book trips at a much more reasonable price. Whereas my brother would have to pay a lot more money for one trip for 7 people. That's true too. Even with 5, it's a little tricky sometimes. You have to kind of squeeze the people in there sometimes. Well, the day I didn't end up working because my wife had to rush off to her parents last minute and she couldn't take our 3-year-old son with her while my 7-year-old was in school. So I took my son to my brother's house so he could play with his cousins. While I was there, I had to quickly check on an email in regards to a ski trip I just booked for February. My brother asked what the email was for, and I told him about the ski trip. Then he scoffed and went on a whole rant about how lucky I am, that he wishes he could have travel as much as we do, and that I really take my luck for granted. It's not luck. This is planning. There is no luck about this. This is planning. You're supposed to plan your family. Plan your family. Like we already always planned on having 3 kids. Always that was the plan. I thought that was old. Um, I gotta find my place again. By the way, me and him basically earn the same amount of money per year. Or make more money, get a better job. Here's where I might be the a-hole. I shrugged and said, I'm no luckier than you are financially. I just didn't have 5 kids. If you want to go on more trips, you shouldn't have had 5 kids. He laughed, by the way. I said this after a 5-minute long rant about why I'm apparently so much luckier than he is. I was slightly annoyed by the end of his rant, but my son and I left the house an hour ago, so I could go pick up my daughter from school. That's when I received a text from my brother. He said what I said to him was uncalled for. AITAH. No, no, absolutely not. All you did was tell him the truth. And if your family can't tell you the truth, who can? Like, it's silly to go on a rant like this about your brother having more luck when he's just a better planner than you are. He planned better than you did. That's all there is to it. I'm trying to move something. It's not moving. Why is it not moving? Something down there. It was down there. I don't know, but it's annoying me. Oh, let's do it this way. There we go. I'm gonna get legs lifted a little bit. um, Edit. I should add that we're both British. Me saying you shouldn't have had 5 kids was very much said in a joking tone. British banter is different than different level of banter. Sure it is. Okay. He has said to me things like, "Well, you shouldn't have had kids," or "That's what happens when you have 2 kids." If I complain about parenting, that's our banter. Well, he didn't take it that way this time, did he? I've never been offended when he had said things like that. So me saying this didn't seem like a big deal at the time from my perspective, because we joke about things like this all the time. Top Bit says, LOL, uncalled for. Sounds like simple math to me. NTA. Exactly. Fergie says, exactly. As a Brit, it's sibling banter too, I would say. 2 kids equals cheaper than 5. Math be mathing. NTA. Beth says, OP is an easier target than the mirror. Roommate is bed and a lot of kids in it. Wywood says, NTA, why do people think not having as many kids is luck? It's a choice and dedication. Sufficient Drama says, we are one and done and have acquaintances who assume that the reason we didn't want to have another child is because we couldn't, and she felt sorry for us. I was like, no, this is on purpose. Then she shifted to how bad my husband and I must be because we didn't have a son. What is wrong with people? I had somebody, when I got pregnant with my third, goes, Why are you having another kid? Just you have the perfect family. It's like, well, obviously not perfect for me. It's because you have two kids of opposite sex and you're happy with that. Doesn't mean everybody has to be. And there were reasons we decided to have a third kid. Trust me, not pleasant reasons. I think we both just stared at her until we stammered out something about no. He's happy to be a girl dad because he can do all the things one can do with a son, with a daughter. The audacity. Opie says, wow, the audacity of someone to assume your daughter isn't enough to make your husband a happy father. It's so offensive to your daughter. When my wife was pregnant the second time, we were telling people this baby is going to be our last baby. So many people kept saying they hoped the baby was a boy so that I would have a son. I mean, obviously, I didn't end up having a son, but it was still odd. If I had two daughters, I would be equally as happy. Children are not defined by their gender. Thank you. Thank you. I always said I would be fine with having three boys. I would adopt a girl if I wanted one that badly. But I was only gonna have three kids. We got fortunate, and we have a boy girl boy sister sandwich with brother bread. So I didn't have to go that route. But I mean, I grew up with all girls, so my dad's a girl dad, my uncle's a girl dad. It's girl dads all around. My son's a boy dad. My everyone on my side of the family has both genders for some reason. I don't know why. My brother-in-law's a girl dad because he has a stepson, but he has four girls. True Pina is the third top rated comment, and they say, NTA, having kids is a choice, being able to afford to offer good standard of living to five kids, plus an annual holiday is a good standard of living. It is. It really is. The balance between lifestyle and number of children is not a secret. You said that you have similar income, so it's very apparent between you how those different lifestyle choices balance out. If you had been rubbing his face in it, then you would be the a-hole. But sounds like he has a touch of the green-eyed monster and would like his family size and your disposable income. I don't think it was unreasonable to point that out, that he chose his path and you chose yours. The disparity is a natural consequence of two different set of priorities. Exactly. OP says, yeah, he lives a great life. His family doesn't struggle. They have a great home and go on holiday once a year. And then again, their lifestyle is still privileged in comparison to a lot of people's lifestyle. True Peanut says there's a famous saying about comparison being the thief of joy. So don't compare yourself to others and you'll be happier. Yeah, he's an NTA. Definitely NTA on that one. He just said out loud what needed to be said. And that is that. Anything, what am I doing? Next, I have Neighbors from Hell, and is entitled Neighbor sent his landscapers over to cut my mom's trees years ago. Now her house is for sale and he wants to tour it. Any red flags here? I mean, you can't choose who tours your house when you're trying to sell it. My mother lived in her house for 60 years. 10 years ago or so, the neighbor sent his landscapers onto her property to remove her volunteer trees that were blocking sunlight to his backyard. Did she sue him? Because she should have. When he knew she was out of state for the winter months. When she came back, she sued him and won. He had to replant the trees. She never spoke to him again. She passed away, and now her house is on the market. The questionably unethical neighbor has asked our agent to show him the house. We have an agreement with our agent not to dual represent, and he says he has a different agent. Do you neighbors from hell Redditors see any red flags here? No, we should we just assume he has no nefarious objectives and that his money is as good as anyone else? It's hard to trust someone who has acted as he has. It's not up to you. Update. Thank you so much for all the laughs and snark as well as helpful ideas. My agent ended up showing the neighbor early this morning and kept a close eye on him. It would have been worse had he come to an open house. Why? Those are very busy, and we have solid offer in hand now, not from him. Your neighbors are allowed to come to an open house. Open house. Don't have an open house if you don't want people in your house. Honestly, just because he was a jerk in one instance doesn't make him a thief or anything like that. My name is Zella says, Mad, just tell the agent you don't want his money. Him wanting a tour is just some kind of dominance thing. I don't think so. I think it's just him wanting a tour. Opie says that's what it feels like, as if he's stomping on her grave. It's silly. It's silly to put this much energy into this guy. You can't tell people that they can't tour your house when you have it up for sale. It's silly. Carney Wesso says your mom had to sue the guy. Do you think she'd sell him the house if he was alive and put it up for sale? Whatever you come up with, that's your answer. Opie says no. I think he's being silly. Silver Adagio says decorate the house with pictures, photos, and drawings of trees everywhere with a toilet on the door. I don't think you can stop him from seeing the house. Apparently you can. Which seems silly to me. I think it's silly. I guess you can refuse to let them see the house, but it's silly. It's silly reason. It's silly. It's just silly. Just because you don't like the guy doesn't mean he can't buy a house. How do you know he's not buying the house? How do you know that the people that bought it are representing him in some way? You don't. That's why it's silly. Next, we have benign existence, and it says, I think a bee thanked me for helping its friend. At least I'd like to think so for the whimsy plot. My family and I were having a lovely pool day today. One of my little cousins were splashing around when I noticed that a bumblebee was struggling on the surface of the water. I got closer to the bee and let out my finger so that it could climb on. Thankfully, it did quickly. I walked closer to the side of the pool. As I reached the edge, I noticed another bee was closely hovering around. Bees are very intelligent insects, and if I recall correctly, I do think that they mourn their dead. um, I put my finger on the ground outside of the pool so it could slowly crawl off my finger and catch its breath. When the bee was finally off my finger, resting, the other one that had been hovering close by landed on my hand for a bit and then flew off, going its merry way. Then I realized there's too many kids stuffing all over the place and didn't want to risk my little homie getting stepped on, so I waited patiently for it to crawl back on my finger before I left the pool area in search of the prettiest flower nearby and bid my little bee buddy farewell. Curious says you did a beautiful thing for another living being. Training Tour says thank you for making me smile. And the third top rated comment is Forest Path Walker. I'm going with the idea that hovering bee was showing gratitude and trust. In my experience, bumblebees do not typically land on people and fly away. Thank you so much for saving the bee. Every bee is precious and you are a kind human. Well, of course we're looking up. I guess the bumblebees don't, but other bees might. But we don't know. They claim they lack the proper structures. But who really knows what goes on in a bee's head? We can't talk to him yet. We actually have found Satan this month. Oh, we had it last month too. Never mind. That's not the one I was thinking of. This is from Found Satan, entitled "I Don't Like My Friend." You get to add 10 to any number in your life. What would you choose and why? Please don't do your worst. Somebody says there are now 10 quadrillion mosquitoes. Oh, you're evil. Old Nectarine says Earth distance from the sun is now 1.5 billion kilometers. Good luck, everyone. Sandman said fix global warming. Nickelturn Nevada says there's an asterisk, a big one, and a very cold one. Squash Gremlin says add a 0 for the amount of trees on the planet. Yeah. Morgan Dealer says only person he answers only person here for good. LaV says humans now have 50 fingers on each hand. That is evil. I put a 0 on everybody's bank account. Works for me. Extra 0 on your bank account. Up next, Just No Mill. Entitled Mill Grounds Husband 33 Male. How does that work exactly? My husband's visiting, male 33 is visiting his mother, female 75. Wow. How old was she when she had him? That's like, how old, man? Just 42. So he's a change of life baby. I find that some parents, when they're older and have kids like that, especially if it's their first kid when they're at that age, they're very set in their ways and they don't do well. Okay, my husband, 33 male, is visiting his mother, 75 female, while he has a work thing in the same town. This happens like twice a year, but it seems to be the last time that he's going to be staying with her. There's a good opportunity to visit. She has always been very crazy. This time she has been hyper focused on eavesdropping on his conversations. He had to call an insurance company to clear up an issue, and he was getting out of his car and she was walking inside at the same time and left the front door open, presumably for my husband. Once he walked inside, the door slammed shut because she was standing behind the door. Then he said something along the lines of, "Oh crap," except he said the S word. Then she said, "You don't use that language in my house." He says, "Oh, well, you scared me, so it was kind of a surprise." She casually follows him around the house for trying to listen on his phone, and she tries to do it sneakily by sitting outside the bedroom door. Once he was off the phone, he confronted her about listening in on the conversation, and then they get into an argument. When finally says, "That's it, she says, "Sure, that's it, you're grounded." He says, "I'm 33." She says, "No Xbox for a week." He decides to leave at that point. I don't blame him. That's like, it's not a kid. He doesn't live with you. Retrometer says, "Sometimes I think people in the subreddit throw around the 'we need to get you checked for dementia' line a little too much. But in this case, the behavior is bizarre enough that it may very well signal cognitive difficulties. Depends on, is this new behavior or has she always been like this?" I suspect she's probably always been like this. The reason I say this, I have an aunt who developed dementia in her 70s. One of the first symptoms that something was seriously wrong with her was that she couldn't keep track of people in time and space and would make inaccurate references about them. Yes, that's not uncommon. For example, saying that her 12-year-old granddaughter was in college or that she hadn't seen her next door neighbor in years, when that neighbor had literally been in her living room an hour earlier. Yeah, that's dementia. But she's always been this cray, not dementia. Magic Masturbator says, "It could be a joke that didn't land." No, it wasn't. It wasn't. My mom can be pretty toxic and she'll joke about grounding me sometimes. Not funny when we're living in her house and she's the only driver. Sometimes jokes don't land. Still mad respect for him for leaving. Her listening on the phone call would have been enough for me. That was mad disrespectful. You sound 12. Sorry. Yeah, you're still living at home because you're 12. Aromatic recipe is the third top rated comment, and they say, "I really think that she's suffering from mental illness issues or dementia. It's such a bizarre way to behave. She needs to see a doctor, not be mocked on Reddit." Muzzlehead Link says, "I agree with this. I care for a lot of older folks. I've seen it start and progress. He needs to figure out what's going on. She might progress and not be safe to live on her own." I still say it depends. Don't throw this dementia thing out there. If she's always been like this, it's not dementia. It might be mental illness, but it's not dementia. And if it is mental illness, she's always been like that. I didn't see anyone ask that question. It's next week. The week after next. Actually. Next we have infuriating. Which we have not had for a while. Because it rarely has enough traffic. This is entitled, "The owner of a New York pastry shop on the verge of going bankrupt due to constant robberies started recording the number of people who rob her shop in just one day." Let's share the video. And fucking book. Yes, I just come in to walk out. What stuff are you kidding me right now?
What's it like that?
Look at that! Look at that! Look at that! With a black Stop!
What did you do?
Can you hurry, please?
This is not looking good. That guy looks like he has money. I mean, some of these guys look homeless. That guy looks like he has money. And why isn't she confronting them? Oh my gosh. You need a neighbor account. Phase agitated as the top rated comment, and they say, probably save money hiring a hands-on security guard at this point. Yes, exactly. Snarky Iguana answers, honestly, yeah, even if you just hire one big employee that has resting bitch face, it would probably help. Attention span says, what would happen if a customer in the store simply robbed the thieves? CD Project Blue is the second top right comment. And they say, I like how they don't even try to hide it anymore. Don't even bother running. Can't wait to see how we progress further. Oxygen said running makes you look more obvious. The whole casual grab it and walk out thing is trying to hide it. That's true. The Sleepy True says that they don't even care who's watching. Employees staring right at them, recording, and they don't have a single wing because they know nobody's going to do anything about it, including the police and the justice system. Oxygen for Life says, I know shooting thieves with a gun is probably illegal in New York, but maybe a taser would work as a consequence the owner can impose. Also, why would it would also make them drop the stolen goods? See, psychologist says there's a 20-minute video showing everyone who was stealing. Why is this one edited to only show black people? I was wondering the same thing. Are there others? Jafar Rolo says, as others said, this is an edited video that emerged on X in recent days by a far-right account. The original is on a YouTube channel, and it shows clearly white people doing the same thing too. So somebody's lying. If I find it, I will put it in the comments. Unfortunately, there's a movie called Shoplifters. Okay. I'll put this one over here for future reference. I will try and find that. If I find it, I'll put it in the comments or in the description below. Somebody says, so there's a video I just saw first that has white thieves too. They also look at just as mentally ill and unstable as this crowd. One of those guys looked like he had a freaking job and a good one at that. For some reason, this video selectively edited and only posted the black thieves. We're racist quotes for some reason. Emergency Brick says we all know know the reason. Trying to see if there's a link anywhere. Ambitious Cup says edited propaganda. See, I was bothered that it was all black people. I had a feeling something was wrong. So that's cool. It was not all black people. I'm glad to know there is the full video out there somewhere. Oops. I did the wrong one. I did tomorrow's. Today. Which is probably a good thing. Okay. Next is Emma the Jerk. It is entitled AI2J for calling my girlfriend hypocrite. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Let's find out. So the other week I bought myself a Nintendo Switch 2. My original Switch was launch model from 2017 and it was really starting to show its age. I'm also a huge Mario Kart fan and I really wanted to play Mario Kart World. I saved up for a few weeks, bought it home. That afternoon I was setting it up and playing when my girlfriend got home from work. The moment she saw me, she crossed her arms and gave me the kind of look a disappointed mother gives her kid. What the wang is this? She said. A Nintendo Switch 2. I want to play Mario Kart. Want to play Mario Kart with me? I asked, knowing she likes the Mario Kart too. I honestly thought she said yes, but instead she went off on me. I can't believe you bought that. What a waste of money. We're supposed to be saving for our cruise in January. I replied, the cruise is still 6 months away. Relax, babe. We've only got a few more months before it's fully paid off. I was hoping that would be the end of it, but she kept going. You just can't help yourself. We're trying to save money and you go and buy that. At that point, I paused the game and looked at her. How much of money did he spend? That's the question. Shop. I guess it's like $500. That's kind of expensive. $450 if you don't get the bundle. I mean, you might as well get the bundle though. $50. So he spent $500 on himself. You just can't help yourself. We're trying to save money and you go and buy that. At that point, I paused the game and looked at her. That's rich coming from you. She looked genuinely confused. What do you mean? Well, if we are talking about things we bought when we're going to listen to that Taylor Swift record you bought, I still got my old record player in storage. I'll go get it. Without even hesitating, she replied, absolutely not. That's a collectible. For a bit of context, my girlfriend is a massive Taylor Swift fan, and nothing wrong with that. And I mean massive. She's in Facebook groups that post every bit of Taylor Swift news imaginable. Like while we were out to dinner last week, she kept looking at her phone because it kept going off because of Taylor Swift's wedding. Excuse me. Anyway, back in 2023, Taylor Swift released a limited edition heart-shaped vinyl that became incredibly hard to get last year. My girlfriend bought one for nearly 1,500 Australian dollars. So that's 3 times what he spent. And it's something that you can't even use. It's a decoration. I said, well, you spent almost $1,500 on that. And to me, that's a waste of money. She replied, I don't think that's relevant here. I said, yes, it is. My $760, which is what the Mario Kart bundle cost. So he spent $760. So she still spent twice as much as what he did. Purchase gets me a gaming console that I actually use, and you can use it too if you want. But that record is just going to sit there because you'll never play it. I never gave you a hard time when you bought it because I knew it made you happy, but now you are giving me grief for buying something that makes me happy is pretty hypocritical. I turned back to the TV and continued playing while she walked off to the bedroom and slammed the door behind her. So was I the jerk? No. I mean, she can't complain that you're spending money when she spends money too. You said that your cruise is almost paid off, and unless there's some other sacrifice she has to make because you bought this, I don't see the issue. Okay, requirements, top rated comment says NTJ, but although she won't believe that. Peachy Sunday says, true, nobody likes being called out. But if one person's hobby purchase is acceptable, the others should be too, especially if they both budgeted for it. Right, exactly. You guys need to break up, by the way. You're not compatible. Morcar says, no, you're not the jerk. You're going to have problems with this girlfriend of yours down the line. My wife buys things that matter to her and that I think aren't worth a penny, but if that's what she wants, I don't care. Likewise, I buy things that I want that she thinks aren't worth a lick, but she doesn't care. This girlfriend of yours is very hypocritical, unbelievable, and you only spent half of what she spent and she dares complain about it. Alkham's Razor says, I had an ex-wife like that. She'd happily blow hundreds of dollars a month on her hobby, which she could barely afford, but would give me crap every time something showed up in the mail for me that I had ordered, while I was the one paying for all of our bills. Glad she's an ex. This one needs to be too. Calisnap says, do you really want to be stuck on a boat with that person? 100%. 100% don't want to be stuck on a boat with that person. My husband's gonna be really mad when he gets my bill. I ordered 2 things yesterday, and then I realized I need 3 more things. There are things I'm using. Like my coffee grinder is slowly poisoning me with microplastics. So I bought it wasn't even $50. My budget, I'd been thinking about $50. So I bought it. It was only $40, so I saved $10. The other thing I ordered. Ordered something else now. I can't remember what it was. Hold on. I can find out. Very convenient having all of my stuff right here. Oh, I ordered Spider-Man cups. Not even for me. I ordered cups for the boys because they need to stop using sippy cups, so I bought them straw cups with Spider-Man on them, so they'll both love them. It wasn't even for me. Second one wasn't even for me. First one was definitely for me. Oh, next we have the expectation versus reality. Woohoo! It is entitled Harry and Dave is garbage. Do not rely on them for special occasion. There's only one picture. That's bad. It's so bad. That is what they ordered, and this is what they got. That is so bad. Like, how did they think that was going to float? I hope it at least tastes good. Who mangled this package? Because that's terrible. That is terrible. Cake arrived completely smashed because Harry and David put 0 care into the shipping. Press here says it looks like a vacuum sealed pillow. It does. They're not lying. Darkest Depth says looks like a lump of modeling clay to me. Somebody said it looks like raw chicken. Erp Derp says it looks like fondant in plastic wrap. It doesn't because you can see the cake underneath it. You sure you bought a cake? Erp Derp says it looks like they wrapped your cake in saran when I zoom in. Seller says we cake the cake mail order bakery has built its impressive following, including nationally recognized caterers, party planners, world famous hotels, and exclusive resorts. And you present them stuff like this. All cakes are carefully packaged in their custom cake box for a beautiful presentation. No, they're not. For shipping, layer cakes are specially packed with dry ice in an insulated cooler and shipped via FedEx. Allow cake to reach room temperature before enjoying, which may take 2 hours. Erp Derp says, I feel like this has to be some kind of insane shipping error. It literally looks like wrapped bulk fondant. I don't even know how that mistake can get made. It's not. You can see the cake through it. It obviously was rolling around in there. As I agree that it's an insane shipping error, but it's not fondant. It's not just fondant. Sensitive leader said that they throw it for good measure. I would be calling for a refund. I would too. I want an update. Did they refund your money? Because they should have. As soon as you sent this, they should have. I don't believe they have. Let me look for it. Let me look for an update. Does not seem to have. Oh, I guess it's been years. I guess we don't need comments from 4 or 5, 6 years ago. He did not put a comment on there at all. Yeah, no comments. No comments, so no update. Okay. If you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. I like to go at least 3 times a week right now, usually about noon Eastern time. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, tell your cousin down the street. You have a cousin down the street? I don't. I don't have a cousin down the street. If you have a story of your own or come across a good one in the wild, please send us an email entitled submission. If you would like an email link to the day's current live, send an email entitled subscribe. Actually, you can just go on Snapchat. Just go on Snapchat. Snapchat me. Add me on Snapchat and then ask to be added to the biddies. The email is biddybrunchbunch, all one word, at gmail.com. The email address is also in the description as well as all of my socials. So you can follow me on everything. I don't post on all of them. Just saying. The other posts are all reminders to watch the show. I'm so social on social media. Next, we have real estate. It is entitled Thomas Jefferson's Homes for Sale. His childhood home. I want to tour that. That sounds like a fun time. It is 70. What did that say? $17 million. I'm gonna share it. It looks nice. Looks like an old nice home. $17 million, 5 bedrooms, 6 bathrooms, 6,480 square feet. This big house. I guess if you needed, if you owned people, you needed a bigger house. Looks nice. 17 million. Why does it look like there's 2 houses back to back? I need more pictures. I do wish they had captions on the pictures. Like, you can make captions so easily nowadays. Staff only. Do we get any inside pictures? I mean, it needs work. Landscaping needs some work. I don't know, building. Really confused about the configuration of this house. There's a museum in your backyard. And another house and little houses, which are probably side quarters, to be honest. Oh no, there's a schoolhouse. Tuckahoe, a plantation owned by Colonial Virginia's prominent Randolph family, was under cultivation by the 1710s. The main house, an H-shaped dwelling, is considered one of the most significant examples of early 18th century architecture in the United States. Construction began under the direction of William Randolph about 1733 and was completed about 1740. Many 18th century outbuildings survive. The plantation depended on the labor of enslaved African Americans. Thomas Jefferson lived at Tuckahoe for several years during his childhood. His education began here. Thomas Mann Randolph, governor of Virginia, 1819 to 1822, was born here in 1878. Tuckahoe is a National Historic Landmark. Would you like to own a National Historic Landmark? Finally, it's the pictures of the inside. Is it basically a museum because it looks like you're not supposed to sit there? I want to sit in my house. I mean, it's lovely. The carpets are fantastic. I love them. This is how it was when Tommy Boy lived there, or no? That's a lovely color. I actually like that color a lot. Old George there in place of prominence over the desk. I mean, if it's the same, maybe it's worth 17 million. I don't know. Can you actually live in it, or does it have to be a museum? Interesting battery. Got your giant cradle there. The kids could fall out and put their head on. Oh, that woodworking is beautiful. You don't get stuff like that anymore. What is the fish dish? What is the fish dish? What does it do? Is it more than decoration? I don't understand. Well, it's out in the middle. I mean, you don't have neighbors per se. It's out in the country, for sure. One second. I saw a graveyard, but no, I'm not so sure. A lot of these old houses do have their own graveyards. My family has. I have 2 families that have family graveyards in Arkansas. My grandfather's parents both sides have one. Moo cows? There's moo cows in the distance. That's nice. Near a river. Lovely. A nice calm looking river for now. Does it flood? That's another question. Okay. Built in 1733, 557 acres. Wow. Okay, so maybe that is worth the 17 million. Protected by perpetuary by historic conservation easements. This landmark stands on undisturbed sanctuary of early American architecture and legacy estate without peer. Original quarters, the kitchen, the smokehouse, the storehouse, barn, and overseer's office still stand. Most notable is the original one-room schoolhouse where young Thomas Jefferson received his earliest formal education beneath a unique domed ceiling. They did not. I don't think they showed that. Oil heat, unfortunately. It does have central air, though. And not show any bathrooms. I wonder what kind of state they're in. Your annual tax is $10,000. I just added up ours. It's a little under 4,000. Embarrassing. Yeah, I paid my taxes today. Did that. I went and got a coffee from Biddy. It was not. What's the name of that coffee place? The new one that's. Like 9 something, 8 something. Slideshow, great. That's not it. Seven Borough was not as good as the Seven Borough. It was a cinnamon vanilla. Seven Borough cinnamon vanilla was really good. It's nice and cinnamony, and like a little thicker than like they had a lot of milk in it. I think Big B was not as good. Not as good. I gotta text my sister-in-law that, by the way. Well, anyway, that is Thomas Jefferson's home. Repulsive Mark says, "You're not buying the home, you're buying a museum." Exactly. Henry Ford Museum would do it. Yeah, for sure. They'd also move it to Michigan. Alex says, you see if it is a second top rate comment. You see if it were me, I'd buy that thing, put some gray linoleum flooring, some bright white can lights, and flip that baby for a cool profit. I don't think you can do that. Icy Weekend says, don't forget you need to paint the woodwork in the entrance hall. Oh my gosh. Pixie Mayfair says that it's screaming for some hanging barn doors on every room. These people are being sarcastic. You know that, right? Somebody says they hate barn doors, and the next one is shiplap. You need some shiplap. You do not need shiplap. Then somebody has a picture of Monticello. That's all she wrote. So not even that many pictures of it. I want more in depth. I want more in depth. Next we have When You Karen. No, we don't. No, we don't. Why is that? Instead of actually having stuff, because it does not. Server life looking like. Okay, next we have server life. It's entitled Note We Got Today on a Napkin. I thought it was funny. It's nice. Actually, a nice thing. I'm very sorry that we asked for 1 million things. Follow me on Roblox for more content TV. Sorry for being rowdy. Thank you for everything. Sorry we hardly had money for food. There isn't much to tip. Oh my goodness, they left 28 cents. We're sorry we're so loud. This place is beautiful. I mean, you really need to tip your servers, dudes. Come on. Anonymous Beatbag says, follow me on Roblox is diabolical. Extreme Confession says, I got a note from a child that said, sorry, 0 tip for you, I'm broke. No Special Order says, I got the same note from a grown-up on Father's Day once. That's just rude. It's a little kid, it's fine. Even teenagers, it's fine. This is why servers need to be paid a living wage like everyone else. Dependent Bread says, I always give the same service to teenagers I would give to anyone else. Last week I had 4 teenagers, $88 bill, $60 tip. You just never know. Opie said, yeah, I knew they weren't going to tip because they ordered to go and then has to dine in. But it's whatever's. I know teens don't have much money to spend. They ordered 2 ramens and a California roll to split amongst 5 of them, so I'd say they're pretty broke. Yeah, you're not going to get much of a tip out of that anyway. That's okay. They're just kids. They're kids. It's fine. Kitchen Drink says, did you serve 10-year-olds? And OP says they were teenagers, and somebody says almost illiterate. And somebody points out that they didn't misspell a single word. Exactly. Somebody says it shouldn't be the standard for a teenager. Very downvoted. Downvoted like 150 plus times. I'm so lost on what the issue is. This is just the same misguided generational hate that boomers gifted millennials. This is known as conversational English. It's not an essay. Someone forgot an apostrophe on the contraction isn't a spattering of comments. Get over yourselves. That cactus is just pulling themselves deeper. He says another disparaging comment, and then Super Salad says, I'm saying it's a note on a dirty napkin with the demonstrably appropriate spelling and grammar, considering it's a note on a dirty napkin. It's just pedantic. Like, get over yourself. Defeat the Warlord says, I think you're caught up on the handwriting. It's a note written on the napkin. It doesn't have to be eloquent. He's just a jerk. Just a jerk. He's just being a jerk, sir. Stop it. It's not that important. It's a note on a napkin. For Pete's sake. Next, we have confession. Confession. Heterosexual male, 47, and I gave in to the temptation of gay sex. You're not heterosexual, sir. I'm not gay by any means. Sure, Jan. I've always loved women and been turned on by women, but the past few years, women have become extinct in my life. So hearing that, let me say that I have never seen a man that turned me on sexually. Last night I gave in to let a man do whatever he wanted to me. I just laid there and got sucked real good, and he pinched me and then wanted to go ahead and have relations. I was so worked up that I agreed, and let's say I ended up having the most intense, fun time I've ever had in my life. It was amazing. Now I'm contemplating doing it again, sir. You are so not straight. You're bi. You're bi. It's okay. It's okay to be bi. My employer says, well, you're at least a little gay. If you want really coming of awareness situation, go watch Cafe Latte. There is a scene in there where two men discover that they are not straight. It's great. Jojo the Buffalo says homo flexible. Ergo says, Ergo Jan says gay adjacent. Little Lush says gay Jason sounds like the neighborhood right before you reach Gay Town. I can't even be mad at that one. Hetero special, hetero spicy, hetero skeptical, hetero acceptable, hetero curiosity, curioso. Extraordinarily bi curious. The board cantaloupe really liked that one. Homo flexible is honestly one of the funniest labels I've heard in a while. Patience at 0.0. I'm not gay by any means when talking about getting winged in the patoot is a dude peak. Dude to speak right. The straight turn gay sub gets busy at AF LOL. In his defense, sexuality is very diverse. It is. It's a spectrum and there's variation, every variation one could think of. Some are more fluid on the spectrum than others. Of course, we all know that. People also evolve as time goes on and their sexual interests can evolve too. So while you're in good company, suggesting the delusion of Reddit on Reddit is peak. It's not completely out of the question of how all feels about his sexuality. Identity can be important to some, and for others, labors aren't a priority. It's just silly because, like, you're clearly not. Broseph Jesus II says, I'm not gay, gets followed by a super gay story. Acanthus at a fun says, but in the past few years, women have become extinct in my life. Are you in jail? Well, somebody says that was my thought. He's in jail. Original Nudist Geek says, as long as you had your socks on, you're fine. He would say that. He's a nudist. Oh, so funny. I love that one. That's hysterical. Not something I can share everywhere else, but it's hysterical. As long as it's buried on here, we're all good. Confessions, you never disappoint. Next we have interesting AF. This is titled Chinese Guy Explains How Every Magic Trick Works. He looks like a child, to be honest. Not that there's anything wrong with that. He just looks like a kid. See in a minute. I guess he's still a guy, even if he's a kid, right? Here we go.
好的，其实魔术都是假的，刀切手臂，手臂接完好无损，这是怎么做到呢？好的，教学一下，刀是可以伸缩的，放上去就可以了。好的，接下来呢，我这里呢有一个红酒瓶，还有一个袋子， 我把红酒瓶放到袋子里，然后施点魔法下去，可以瞬间消失不见了。好，消失不见，这又是怎么做到呢？好的，教学一下。其实这个红酒瓶是软的，放到袋子里就好像消失不见了一样。好，接下来呢，我这里呢有一个钱包，钱包一打开呢就可以瞬间着火了。好，这又是怎么做到呢？正反两面都没问题。好的，教学一下，钱包中间是有一个隔层，打开这里，划一下就可以瞬间着火了。好的，接下来呢，我这里呢有一个空空如也的袋子，我们施点魔法下去，它可以瞬间拿出来一个礼盒。一个礼盒不够用的话，我们再拿一个。好的，这又是怎么做到呢？好的，教学一下，其实这个礼盒是可以折叠的，我们把它折叠起来，然后就可以变成这个样子，然后放到袋子里就好像消失不见了一样。好的，接下来呢，我这里有2种颜色不一样的珠子，将红色的珠子倒到绿色的珠子里，搅拌均匀，混合在一起，然后瞬间将它分开。好的，这又是怎么做到的呢？好的，教学一下，其实绿色的珠子是粘住的，它下不来，我们只需要把红色的珠子倒过去，倒过来就可以了。好的，接下来呢，我这里呢有一个可乐瓶，可乐摇晃一下可以瞬间变成2瓶，这又是怎么做到呢？正反两面都没问题。好的，教学一下，其实可乐这边只是半个，把它套进去，然后摇晃一下拿出来就可以了。好的，接下来呢，我这里呢有一条丝巾，我手里什么都没有，接下来将丝巾塞到我的手里，塞进去，可以瞬间的将它消失不见了。这又是怎么做到呢？好的，教学一下，其实我手里丝巾并没有消失，我手里带了一个拇指套，将丝巾塞到拇指套里，然后就好像消失不见了一样。好的，接下来呢，我这里呢有一个红色的小球，将红色的小球放到这个盒子里，弹个响指，它可以瞬间变出一个蓝色的小球来。这又是怎么做到呢？好的，教学一下，其实那个红色的小球还藏在里面的暗层里，划过来啊，红色的小球藏在里面而已。好，接下来呢，我这里呢有一个普通的硬币，还有一个普通的玻璃杯，将硬币丢进去，然后拿出来，3、2、1，瞬间将它穿透。这又是怎么做到的呢？好的，教学一下，其实把硬币丢进去拿出来之后，只是假拿，硬币滑落下来被我手拇指夹住了。接下来想要穿透的时候，把它滑落下来就可以了。接下来呢，我这里呢有一个空空如也的碗，我们施点魔法下去，它可以瞬间变成一碗香喷喷的米饭。这又是怎么做到呢？好的，教学一下，其实这个米饭是假的，只是道具我们翻过来就是一个空碗的形状，翻过去就是一碗米饭的形状。好，接下来呢，我这里呢有一个完全打乱的魔方，还有一个盖子，我们要盖进去，弹个响指，瞬间魔方瞬间完全复原了。这又是怎么做到呢？好的，教学一下，其实只有一个打乱的盖子，把它套在这个魔方上面，然后再把这个盖子拿开就可以了。好，接下来呢，我这里呢有一瓶可乐，好，可乐，我们一个套筒把它套进去，施点魔法下去，瞬间拿出来一朵花来，瞬间将这个可乐消失不见了。这又是怎么做到呢？好的，教学一下，其实这个可乐头部在这里，花是可以伸缩的。接下来这个它的身体部分是空心的，把它套进去就好像消失不见了一样。好，接下来呢，我这里呢有10块钱。10块钱不够用怎么办？瞬间变成20块，接下来可以瞬间变成50块。好，50块不够用，瞬间可以变成100块，正反两面都没问题。这又是怎么做到呢？好的，教学一下，其实这里面是有4层的，每一层都是由吸铁石吸附住而已。我们表演的时候只需要把它先这样子滑落下来就可以了。好，你学会了吗？
That's cool. Very interesting. Anybody watch Penn and Teller show? Fullness? That's a good show. Start watching that again. I haven't watched all of them. That was interesting. I will give them that. Next is Am I the A-hole? And I have 19 of these, and I don't know why. They do tend to disappear. It is entitled Am I the A-hole? AITA, for telling my brother it takes 2 to tango. What'd your brother do? Why is he being dumb? Because that's usually what happens. Try to keep this short as I can. Apologies for any spelling mistakes. It's not that long, so I want more details. The more details, the better for me. My 28 male older brother, Cameron, 34 male, has been married to his high school sweetheart, Alina, since they were 19. Alina grew up in a very conservative Christian household where she was one of 11 children, and her mother stayed at home whilst her father worked to provide for the family. Alina has always wanted to follow in her mother's footsteps and be a stay-at-home parent with a large brood of kids. Does your brother know what he got into? When my brother Cameron and Alina first announced their engagement, everyone in my family told Cameron that if he really wanted the type of lifestyle with Alina, he would need to work really, really hard, especially in a tough economy. Cameron was not concerned and said he had a plan. To this day, I have no idea what his plan was. Fast forward to now, and Alina and Cameron have 5 kids with a 6th on the way. But they are struggling a lot financially. Shocker. I am shocked. Are you shocked? I am not really shocked. He has borrowed money multiple times from my parents, and my parents give in every time because he felt guilty about their grandkids going without. Has he borrowed money or has he asked for money and not paid back? Has he paid it back? That would be a question I would have. Cameron called me last night to vent about it, saying how sick he was of her and how tired of working his butt off. He confessed to me that he is secretly really upset by the news of the 6th child because he was trying to convince Alina to get a job, but now she's pregnant again. There's no way he'll be able to convince her. This is where I may be the a-hole. I told him I understood his frustration with his wife was partly to blame, but he knew that Alina wanted to stay-at-home mom with lots of kids when they married, and it's not as though he did anything to prevent the 6th child being conceived. He asked me what I meant, and I said, well, it takes 2 to tango. He cussed me out and hung up. Dude, if it isn't the consequences of your own actions. Not sure if I was the a-hole, but I was only trying to convey that he has some agency in his marriage, and he can't blame the crappy situation entirely on his wife. Also, in these marriages, the men get to decide the stuff, so he can tell her they're getting they're not. My tweezer says NTA should go get a vasectomy, 100%. Grand relative says exactly. This is such an easy fix for Cameron. It would involve him taking ownership of decision making in his home life, though. So perhaps it's beyond him. Lemon Charlie says there's also how Alina would react, which could impact their marriage. Well, that's too bad for Alina. Alina should have got married to somebody different. Lemon Charlie answers a question about here's how Cameron reacted to 6th kid. I do question if Alina ever let protection on the table, as it would go against what she desired out of the marriage. There is, too, that we don't hear anything of her opinions in the present situation. It's Cameron who's convinced she's using pregnancy as an excuse to avoid entering the workforce. I'm guaranteed pretty convinced that she probably is. And he's not in a clear headspace to communicate with anyone effectively or work out a mutually workable solution. Also, who's going to take care of the kids while she's working? Bippity boppity nope says NTA felt like a common sense he wouldn't have married someone knowing he did not want the same things as them. Yes, exactly. This is why you have conversations about how your life is going to look before you get married. Full Moon Twist says, worse, it sounds like he used to be on board with their plan, right up until reality punched him in the face. And now he resents her for wanting the exact thing she always said she wanted and never not wanted and continues to want. Exactly. 24-hour hate says he at no time took any responsibility for his own actions. I mean, he could have stopped having unprotected sex with her. He could have gotten a vasectomy. It's his body, and he could say no. He can get a medical procedure without her permission. He acts like he has no say, but he actually did not have to have this many kids. They say children, I'm saying kids. It absolutely did take 2 to tangle. Honestly, this is the sort of person you weep when you learn they procreated at all. Yeah, exactly. Lady Faye Ray says, NTA, I know a couple like this. The husband didn't even go to the birth of their 4th child because he was so angry about having a 4th child. Oh my. I'm with you. Absolutely participate in this. It sounds like he just wants to put all the blame on his spouse. No Bathroom says, I almost downvoted you because I hate the guy in your comments so much. How could he dare not show up while she risked her life to birth their child? Exactly. Yeah, you have agency over your own body, especially men. If you don't want to have a child or you don't want somebody to have an abortion with your issue, so to speak, get a vasectomy or just don't have sex. You can say no, just like women can. Everybody has a right to say no. Next we have overheard. Overheard says, wow, Dad, you're really smart. Walking through World Market's international food section, I overheard this exchange between a 5-year-old boy and his dad. Son, Dad, what's that? Pointing at some random food package. Dad tells son what it is. Son, wow, Dad, you're really smart. You know everything. Dad, thanks, kiddo. Knowing how to read really helps. This sounds like my grandson. Something my grandson would say. He's like everybody's best cheerleader. He's just awesome. Mighty Thor says that kid's confidence in his dad is adorable. Petite Asian Cutie says kids really do see their parents as superheroes for the simplest things. That's true. It says what's amazing is 10 years. In 10 years, the boy will be convinced that dad doesn't know anything. I love reading the comment though. Grumpy Cat Stevens says, age 5, my daddy is smarter than your daddy. Aged 15, Dad, you don't know anything. Age 45, my dad always used to say. Callahan says, yep, BRB going to listen to Cats in the Cradle. That's excellent comment to somebody named Grumpy Cat Stevens. Next we have third side for your comments. No Chipmunk says, all such small moments but so sweet. Anyone can get the feeling this dad has been modeling encouragement at home while also showing what humble looks like. I love this. I mean, that may be true. It may not be, because my oldest grandson is everybody's greatest cheerleader. The second one, not so much. I don't know why. He gets the same treatment. Okay, this is not safe for work. It's from True Off My Chest. It's entitled, People at Work Think I Might Be Autistic for Loving Trains, but I'm really just an alcoholic. Oh, that sounds terrible. Sitting in a meeting today, the host Googled the city we were chatting about. First thing that came up on the screen was a picture of a train at the local station there. A colleague made a joke about me loving trains because I forego renting a car all the time. I got a chuckle. The thing is, I do it because I like drinking on the plane. Renting a car after a few beers isn't something I want or should do. Yeah, Uber works, but you just don't need it in some cities like Philadelphia or Atlanta. More importantly, I guess I get less flack for my expense report bar tabs because I'm not spending larger amounts on rentals or Uber. I also find trains to be more efficient and maybe calming in a way, but that isn't the point. At least you're responsible. You acknowledge that you're an alcoholic, which is the first step. And you don't drink and drive, which is awesome. Awesome. Western guy says getting made fun of for preferring mass transit is such an American moment. Low social R word says, I hate it here. 196 says, happens in Australia too. The crap I copped from friends and family for not owning my car in my early 20s was insane. Second top rated comments from JMX, and they say, nah, yeah, this is my logic for loving transport in London. I get mashed up or high AF and I can still get home. Gotta love a night or 24-hour bus route. But then I think about how well the tube lines and bus routes, it can't be just because I've used them so much. Tyga says, oh, in the golden days, you could drink on the bus, too, on the tube, too. Probably still could if you're sneaky enough. But yeah, yay for public transportation. All of large cities that have good public transportation. Detroit does not. I'm not even sure if the loopy loop thing. I forgot what they call it. I forgot what they're calling it these days. They have one little train loop around the city that you can use. It's really nice. I can't remember the name of it. The monorail. Monorail in Detroit. I know there's another name for it. But that's all they have, basically. They have some buses that you really don't want to be on. I don't know anything about their bus routes. But I've taken buses and trains, and the buses in Chicago compared to 20, 30 years ago, over 30 years ago, now that I think about it. I'm old, man. I'm old. Way better than they were 30 years ago. You see my cute little flip hair? Isn't that cute? It's adorable. I mean, probably need a haircut. Next is what do I do? And it's entitled, I found concerning things on my 27 female daughter's 11 female phone. How do I talk to her? Oh, she's 27. You had her when you were 16? For context, I take my daughter's phone every night at 9 p.m. sharp on weeknights, 10:30 on weekends, and never go through her cell phone since I never had a reason to. However, last night I took her phone. I noticed a lot of notifications coming in from TikTok, which she isn't allowed to have. She has notification previews on. I thought it might be something urgent, so I decided to read the messages. Previews and saw someone asking my daughter what she ate, how much she ate, telling her how much she ate. I know it was an invasion of privacy on my end, but I did end up going through my daughter's TikTok account, all of her messages, and I found a lot of posts about foods, videos of very thin girls, messages between her and her, presumably other young girls around her age not eating. An 11-year-old should not have a phone, just saying. I did notice over the past few weeks she's been eating less and losing weight. But I summed it up to puberty and growing since I had a bit of growth spurt around that age, tall and skinny. But seeing these messages in her account is making me concerned. How do I bring this up to her? Well, don't tell her you went through her phone, number one. Is there proper punishment for having an app without permission? I mean, you gave her a phone. She's going to have apps on it. I'm just unsure what I would do. Any advice would be helpful. Hello, Gorgeous says, it's not invasion of privacy. An 11-year-old should not have unsupervised access to a cell phone. Yeah, she shouldn't have the cell phone. She's not even old enough to have any social media. You should be going through her phone regularly. It should be linked to yours so that you can receive her messages. You wouldn't have this problem if she didn't have a phone. She needs one of those old-fashioned flip phones. That's all she needs at 11. Punishment should not be your focus now. Support should be. She needs to know that she can talk to you. If you lead with punishment, she's just going to shut down. Edit. Since I have the top comment, I'm going to leave this link here. Opie confronted her daughter and didn't do it well. Her daughter said she wanted to go stay with her dad. I walked back that statement, and Opie forced her to go anyway, so instead of listening to the advice, she got here, she kicked her out. Oh, good Lord. Read that? AIO. It's from AIO. AIO for packing up my daughter's things and sending her to her father. Yes. My daughter's. Oh, you're not old enough to be a parent of an 11-year-old. That's part of the problem here. Further comments started to know that I was 16. I'm well aware. A few days ago, I caught her on TikTok, blah, 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 blah. I took her phone last night. We had a conversation about what I'd seen on her phone. I was concerned. This led to a huge altercation between us, and my daughter proceeded to say that her dad would let her and how she hates being here. So I called her father and told her to come and get her while I packed her bags. I didn't include any of her devices, iPad, cell phone, laptop, etc., since I paid for them and a very limited amount of starter clothes. Anything expensive or designer stayed with me. That's wrong. I can understand the electronics, but if they're hers, they're hers. If you gave them to her, they're hers. And if you gave her the clothes, they're hers. Why are you piling on punishments for something that shouldn't be punished at all? You gave her the phone. You know she's going to have social media. Her dad just came to get her about an hour ago. I guess that during that time frame between her saying that and him showing up, she'd calmed down because she was kicking and screaming over it. She was fighting me and pleading not to go. I just put her bags in the trunk of the car and let them leave. Now, obviously, I'm not relinquishing my rights, and yes, I know she'll likely be back in a week or so. I feel slightly bad now because she seemed so genuinely distraught over it. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Somebody said, take everything with a grain of salt. Somebody says, sending her away feels like Band-Aid fix. It's not. It's like punching her. This needs a therapist, not a trip to Dad's house. Exactly. Peter Insight says, I have a situation recently with a 16-year-old Disney dad only shows up once a month, but lately has been more consistent since he moved in with his parents. Now, all of a sudden, Disney Dad and the absent grandma and grandpa told my kid that they would rescue him from me whenever. So my son did like Opie's daughter when he didn't like a rule. We got into an argument about this is what happens when you don't communicate with your child's other parents, when you don't co-parent. He yelled that his grandparents would save him from me, so I said, okay, call up and come get you. I was so winging hurt, I'm the one 24/7 taking care of him. He's 13. What did you think would happen? He'd been in the hospital recently, and did anyone show up but me? No. They missed his graduation from 8th grade. Not once did they bother to call or see him in the last year, but now 3 months in, I'm the bad guy and they are the saviors. Yeah. So extremely hurt, I said, sure, let's call them now. He said some hurtful things like he forgot last year. He called begging me to kick his dad out. I was out of the country because he would rather be alone than be neglected by his dad. Or how did dad couldn't take care of him because he wanted to be free and not work. He told our kids that, and he literally dropped them off at my doorstep. My son remembers all of that. My son immediately regretted and begged me not to call, but like OP, I bet it was the hurt that made her and pushed her. Is it right? No, we are human. The important thing here is to hold the conversation, apologize to her daughter for the reaction, but have the conversation about respect, rules, boundaries, and expectations. Somebody says, you sound like your grandma. No, you don't. Children are having child reactions, and the adults are having childlike reactions in return is not good. Honestly, I get it. My own children pushed me to my limits I didn't even know I had. Yeah, children will push you to your limits. I love in your daughter has enough cognitive capacity to understand that words can hurt, but not yet the emotional maturity or foresight to appreciate that something said while dysregulated might be interpreted as a considered decision about where she wants to live. She does not become fully functional adult simply because her words are adult-sized. Restricting her phone and TikTok access were entirely proportionate because it's directly connected to both the broken rule and the unsaid contact. Exactly. Packing her belongings and sending her away while she begged to stay, however, was, in my opinion, neither proportionate nor educational. Amen. Staying with her father may be perfectly fine in itself. The issue was what happened as an immediate punishment. That transformed discipline into perceived rejection and may have communicated that her security within your home is conditional. I understand her words were deeply hurtful, but I think that hurt temporarily displaced far more important issue. An 11-year-old engaging with pro-ana contact. No, pro-ana means pro-anorexia. No parenting approach works blindly for every child, and perhaps in the space of their father will ultimately help, but perhaps it won't. What matters now is repair. I would return to the pro-ana contact calmly and seriously. I like the suggestion of redirecting her towards toward nourishment and genuinely healthy habits, perhaps like cooking and learning about food altogether. Then they encourage her. Someone says they lived with their dad, and when she was that age, started getting her own personality and wasn't just an extension of him anymore. And he held the kids over his ex. She said he constantly threatened to kick me out. Sometimes he made me pack my bags and drop me off at my mom's house. I grew to be severely depressed. I packed a bag for the millionth time. Went to stay with a friend and I didn't go back. Don't blame you. I ended up staying with my mom, who he demonized and made out to be a punishment my whole life, because the real punishment was having to be an object for him to keep in his house. Sending your child away every time she does something you don't like will break her love for you. If you don't treat her like a parent, then she won't see you as a parent. My dad was more like an abusive roommate than a parent. I haven't spoken to him in over 10 years, and I'm only in my mid-20s. And that is what will happen. These kids will not. An 8-year-old said to be 9. We have rules, and when my daughter's acting out, there are consequences. However, we have told her if one day she's in trouble because of something she did, something that was not allowed to, if she did something that she was not allowed to do, she needed to tell us, and we would not be mad at her or punish her ever. A year ago, she comes to me in the evening crying, confessing to me that she took my tablet to watch YouTube, and after a few harmless videos, she was, of course, suggested shady crap that looked like a kid's cartoon. Fortunately, it was not violent or X-rated, but quite disturbing for a little kid, especially since she was sensitive. I was so happy she told me. I would not even feel mad. I remember exactly hiding that kind of stuff from my parents and feeling terrified, ashamed, and alone. I told her she did the right thing, and then we just talked about what was scary, why some adults post shady stuff. I comfort her, and I swear I remember feeling from my own childhood, no way she will experience too. And we set rules with pre-approved content. As I get YouTube's approval. Not only did she never do it again, but she is way more aware of risks and careful. And we keep talking about it. I'm very proud of her for having the courage to tell me. And I told her, and that's good because now your kid's gonna come to you and tell you when things are not good. My son got in trouble for drinking when he was a teenager. He actually got stopped because he was driving. He was a .01. Declined he had accidentally drank some lemonade that happened to be hard. And the cop said, "Do you think your parents are going to answer if you if you if you call them?" It was like 3 a.m. He's like, "Maybe." My husband happened to be up and near his phone for some reason. I never even knew about it. They didn't wake me up. They let me sleep through the whole thing. But my husband went and got him. He says friends all blue zero. So cop kind of believed his story that it was an accident. Obviously he's not drunk at .01. That's ridiculous. He had, if he had not like rolled through a stop sign, nobody would have ever been the wiser. Maybe he accidentally drank the hard lemonade. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. It could go either way. Doesn't matter. But was he punished for it? No, because he came to us and told us. My other kids know that they can come to us. They could come to us. My kids never got grounded anyway. Like grounding is silly. You're just punishing yourself when you're grounding your kids. But yeah, don't ground your kids because then you can't go anywhere unless you have a sitter or something. If you can do that, then fine. But somebody's got to stay with them. While they're grounded, and you don't want to be that person. Mildly infuriating. Caterpillar ate my book. That was probably not a caterpillar. That was probably a moth. That looks like a moth larva. A very, very hungry caterpillar. The very, very hungry caterpillar will do that. I read in the park the other day. I must have picked up this little guy without realizing it. Opened my book today and he had nibbled through multiple pages. He was hungry. Little caterpillar guy was hungry. Just a bunch of memes. Blanco says, I read a kid's book about this. Substantial Milk says, on Wednesday he ate through one book, but he was still hungry. Tay says, on Saturday he ate 7 ballistic missiles, and he was still hungry. Let me put a gif of the very hungry caterpillar. He was very hungry. He was a hungry little caterpillar. You shouldn't have trapped him in your book. Done you. Next is Best of Redditor Updates, Boru, as we call it. Entitled, I purposefully ruined my cousin and ex's wedding and it's brought me a lot of happiness. New update 4 years later. Original post, March 18, 2022. I purposefully ruined my cousin and ex's wedding and it's brought me a lot of happiness. I once looked up to my cousin. I thought he was a great guy and we were close like brothers. I was also dating a girl. I was deeply in love with her and planned to marry her someday. I thought my life was perfect. One day I came home early from because a colleague offered to cover my shift. I was pretty tired, so I accepted and went home. Arriving home, I found them in my bed having sex. Both of them were shocked, to say the least. I told them I wanted them to be gone by the time I got back and left the house. They were gone by the time I got back, but she left me a note telling me she was sorry to call her when I calmed down. I didn't call her. I texted her saying that I had gathered her things and dropped them off at cousin's house in a few days, and that she's staying with him now, not me. I followed through with that. It took about a week to transfer everything. Both of them tried to apologize, but I didn't have anything nice to say to them, so I said nothing. I just knocked on the door and handed the bags to whoever answered before leaving. My cousin called me multiple times trying to apologize, but I refused to accept it. Good. You don't have to accept an apology just because somebody offers it. 3 years have passed since then, and I went no contact with them. I didn't bring it up with the rest of my family or any of their friends. I'm not sure why. I just didn't. I got a call from another number I didn't recognize, so I answered. It was my cousin. He sounded really happy and was acting like he hadn't destroyed my life. He explained that he and my ex were getting married, and he wanted me to be his best man. Okay, this sounds fake. There's no way. No way. I was so angry that he had the utter gall to act like nothing was wrong. Lost my temper. I yelled at him and called him names before hanging up. He sent me a text telling him the offer still stood, and if I didn't want to be his best man, then he simply wouldn't have one. A few days passed by and I had an idea. I texted him back and apologized. I sent a paragraph of BS saying I was still angry, but this could be an opportunity for the three of us to heal and move on. He was overjoyed and said he'd pay for everything, and then he'd help me pick out a suit if I wanted, which I accepted because I sure as crap wasn't going to spend any money on his stupid wedding if I could help it. The wedding day came, and I spent the week prior writing a speech, putting all the negative feelings I had bottled up over the years onto paper. The wedding was pretty good. I'm sure one of them has some nice, well-paying job or something, because they must have spent a decent amount of money on this wedding from how nice it was, or the parents paid for it. Our entire family was there, and it was a decent chunk of my ex's family. Eventually, the time for my speech came. I just remember feeling nervous as it built up to it, and my voice kept faltering when I was reading it out, but I didn't and still don't care. At least I got it out. I explained that these two horrible people had done to me. I want the text of the speech. Sorry. I called them the worst names I could think of and wished them the best. Then I left. I was expecting some kind of dramatic moment from all the guests. Guests with chalk and all that, but there was none. None of that. Everyone was silent. Well, that's your gasp right there. On my way home, I got a call from my mom angrily telling me I'd ruined the wedding, and both of them were so upset. And she asked me why I'd do this, and I told her they deserved it for what they'd done to me. and everything I said in the speech was true. She kept defending him, so I swore at her and hung up. Since I've gotten several calls and texts from others in mine and my ex's family angry that I ruined the wedding. Well, probably shouldn't ask the ex-boyfriend to be the best man, to be honest. I've also received a few texts from people who were there being supportive and telling me they were there if I needed to talk. That's nice. I'm not sure if I feel better having done this, but it did bring me great catharsis when people were telling me the wedding was ruined. At least now they felt at the very least a fraction of what they made me feel. Just to edit, so address some common questions. As far as I'm aware, the rest of the family wasn't aware of her cheating on me. They likely knew we were dating at some point, then we weren't. I've learned from previous stuff that I can't rely on my family or for any kind of support, so I've been low contact with them since I moved out of my parents' house, which is why I didn't mention this to anyone in my family. I have a lot of people also asking for a speech transcript. I wrote it in Google Doc and read it from my phone. The delivery was kind of lackluster. I sounded like I was going to try and tripped over words, but I managed to read it all out. It isn't verbatim, but what I said was very close as I'm reading this from a general script. Hello, everyone. Not good at public speaking, so apologies in advance. It is an honor to be at this wedding, and it is an even greater honor to be the best man. I was shocked I was even invited at all, since the last time I spoke to the bride and groom was when I found them wanging my own bed. Ex's name, what are we going to call her? Betty. Betty was my partner at the time, you see, but I don't think she got the memo that when you're dating someone, you don't wang their cousin in your partner's own bed. He's going to be Bob. Bob, Bill. Ben. He's going to be Ben. It was like Ben didn't know we were dating either. Who knows how long this slimy see you next Tuesday was wanging her behind my back. Weeks, months. For those unaware, Betty and I had been dating for 2 years. I loved her with my whole heart. I was actually saving up to get a proposal ring. Maybe if Betty wasn't such a WHORE, Ben would be giving this speech instead, and I wouldn't be struggling with mental health for 3 years. Anyway, I've heard 50% of marriages end in divorce. I hope yours is a messy one. From the bottom of my heart, wang you both. You ruined my life, and I will never forgive either of you. Love it. Notable comments from OOP. Comment 1. Well, I bet you'll never hear from the ex or the cousin again. How dare they think you would just get over it for their comfort and pleasure? Did your mom have any idea that they had cheated on you? Wear that suit with pride. It was really expensive. I hope it was really expensive. OOP says, I'm not sure she knew. I assume she didn't, as I hadn't told her. But I did say in my speech I found the two of them in my bed together, obviously, with much more graphic language. I'm not sure about the exact price of the suit. I do know it wasn't cheap. It was around 300 pounds, so about $600. I'm keeping it as a souvenir. You should. It was bought for you. Comment 2. If that's true, you're wanging boss. That's less than anyone who thinks they can get away with you. Nobody gave a wang that they stabbed you in the back, but when you paid them the favor, suddenly they care. To me, this is just a nice filter for you. Keep those who supported you and get rid of the rest except your mom. I don't blame the girl as much as your cousin. Anyone can fall in love with a twat, but there's another fish in the sea. But when the stabbing comes from your own blood, that's indescribable. I blame her just as much. They're both at fault. Actually, her more than him, because she was the one in the relationship. OOP says, I tend to get rid of everyone, including my mother. The fact that she is siding with her brother's son over her own in all this only tells me that she doesn't love me, so I'll return the favor. Comment 3. If I'm reading this correctly, it's completely plausible that no one but you three knew what happened, and he probably got some pressure from the family along the lines of, you know what would really be nice? If your cousin that you haven't seen in years would be your best man. And they couldn't tell them it was a bad idea, and you showed them it was a bad idea. OP says it's actually a good theory. Probably not my mom who pressured him, but my aunt, cousin's mom, would probably do that. Maybe some of her friends and family who were present as well. My aunt's side of the family, we're not blood related. I'm blood related to my cousin through my mom and his dad. Quite like me, and most of the people reaching out to me in support were for her section of the family. I don't know for sure. I'm genuinely surprised no one seemed to know why we stopped talking and why they didn't know my ex and I broke up. Well, it would be nice if somebody asked you at some point. Update 1, posted on July 14th, 2022, almost 4 months later. An update. Hey, it's been a while and a lot has happened. I haven't logged on to Reddit other than to look at my messages, and I've gotten whenever I see the notification in my email. It has helped. It's good to know that people still think about me all this time later after reading the words on a screen. How the most recent private message I got was 4 hours ago as of typing this, and the most recent notification on my post was 10 minutes ago. I haven't responded to any because I really don't know how to begin doing so. I'd feel bad just giving a short thank you, and I'm not really creative enough to come up with over 20 good responses. I do genuinely appreciate the supportive words, though. 122, not enough AI for that. Some stuff has happened since the whole mess at my cousin's wedding. My mom tried to talk to me, and she saw the post I made. I pushed her away for a few days before finally speaking to her. I'm struggling to find words to describe how things worked out between us. The easy way to explain is we agreed to disagree on whether what I'd done was correct. I got a mixed message from those who were present at the wedding, some supportive and some telling me off. I was struggling a lot, and I'd just gotten back to simple functioning, like I was before the wedding. After I came down from getting my own back, I don't regret it at all what I did. I still feel satisfied that I got payback. I was making plans to take my own life about a month after the wedding. Oh, that's not good. I hadn't told anyone for obvious reasons, but my mom, uncle, and cousin, same cousins whose wedding I ruined, came to me and told me they'd pay for a private counselor since the mental health department of the NHS is under-equipped, to say the least. I went to therapy, found a counselor that was helpful. He taught me a lot. I got diagnosed with PTSD caused by the discovery of the affair. He's been a big help and has encouraged me to give casual dating a try to build confidence in myself and get used to rejection as a normal part of life. That's good that he's working on himself. I signed up to a few dating sites, although I'm avoiding Tinder like the plague. Smart. My counselor specifically suggested that I stay as far away from Tinder as I possibly can. I've not been very successful in that avenue, but it's pretty much in line with what I was expecting. I've talked to a few people and even got a date scheduled, but she stood me up and ghosted me with her. I'm doing good though, much better. I don't have suicidal thoughts very often anymore. Whenever I'm feeling especially like crap, I open up Reddit and read your supportive messages. The software now I'll probably start using this account on a more regular basis, so you'll see more of me. OOP did not leave any comments on this post. Update 2, posted August 14th, 2022, a month after the previous post, so 5 months after the wedding. Hey friends, I'm still getting DMs asking for updates and the like. Honestly, I still baffle when people cared about to ask. I do read your DMs. I'm not responding to any because it's a little overwhelming. I've had over 70 people DM me now, and all but 2 of whom were sending me messages of love and support. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry for not responding. Like I said, it's just overwhelming. So those 2 are probably his ex and his cousin. I might go through and respond someday. For now, I'm just open my Reddit and read the messages whenever I'm feeling down or generally just struggling to think positively. It really helps. Anyway, on to the update. Not a lot to update, really. I had not much luck with the dating, so I gave up. I finally went on a date with 2 separate girls, but neither of them were my type, so I didn't arrange for a second date with either. The first constantly talked about her ex and how much of an a-hole he was, so she's not over her ex. Obviously, it can relate pretty hard, but it just gave me the impression that she hadn't moved on from him. And you're right. After we finished our date, I walked her home, and she offered for me to come inside and watch a movie with her. I declined and lied, saying I needed to go home and feed my cat. I don't have a cat right now. She seemed to buy it. Go home and feed your cat. I gotta go feed my cat. I gotta go feed my cat. I can't come in. I don't have a cat. I just feel bad for turning her down, and I hope she finds someone who will treat her well. She seemed like a sweet girl, but she's just hung up on a toxic ex. Second girl was just painfully boring. She constantly talked about Love Island, I'm a Celeb, and a few other shows I can't remember the name of. I faked an emergency just to get out of it because 5 minutes of this one felt like several decades. Yeah, you gotta have things in common. Did you not discuss that beforehand? Other than that, no bites, and that's fine. My counselor said that if using those sites feels like a chore, then I should stop using them. And it felt like a chore, so I stopped. There were quite a few common questions in my DM, so I'll respond to them here. How are you holding up? I'm doing great, all things considered. I have dark thoughts from time to time, but I have no intention to act on them. My counselor is a massive help. He's taught me a lot about coping mechanisms and has helped boost my confidence from non-existent to probably a bit above average. That's nice. Question: did you know your story was shared on YouTube/TikTok? Sort of. I've seen the videos you've linked me to. It was the same TikTok video, but not the ones on YouTube or any other platforms. It may have been shared too. I'm surprised it's gotten this big, to be honest, but I'm aware now because you told me. Question: have you spoken with your ex since the wedding? Answer: only when I've been to my cousin's house to visit with my mom, which is infrequently. Why is your mom with your cousin? So weird. I don't speak to either of them much. My mom just insists I visit him since he's paying for my therapy. Okay, that's semi-fair. He's also the cause of the whole issue in the first place. I think she's trying to somehow repair our relationship. But once I'm well enough not to need therapy anymore, I'm going no contact with all of them and move to a different city. That's fair. Question from the previous one. If you do speak to your ex or cousin, what did they say? Anything that isn't related to the wedding or winging each other in my bed. They do everything in their power to avoid talking about anything even tangentially related to those things. If you have additional questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I'll try and answer them if I see them. Notable comments made the update. Comment 1. How do you know for sure the therapist is on your side? Is your cousin paying for therapy? So what guarantee is he didn't buy your therapist into manipulating you? Why are you visiting and letting your mother force them to see you? You're an adult. How do you know this won't be held against you? Guilting you into being in their presence for paying you, they'll make you feel like you owe them. They don't feel guilty just to want to look good in public and say they paid for your therapy, so it's all good now. Why can't you go no contact now? You don't need a mother like that. OP says, I picked him. I had therapists before him, and the lady basically kept implying I did something to drive my ex into my cousin's arms and various other accusatory crap I wasn't impressed with. Yeah, she sounds like a bad therapist. There are bad therapists out there that will do crap like that. The current therapist kind of criticized me for ruining the wedding, but he didn't shame me for it. And he's actually teaching me coping mechanisms. I'm not going no contact in case they stop paying for my therapy, and I'll probably try to use it against me, but that's fine. I'll wing off to another city and never see them again. Comment 2, does your cousin expect some kind of relationship with him or forgive him because he's paying for your therapy? Do you worry that he'll stop paying for therapy if you're not well in his eyes and aren't willing to forgive him? I'm glad you got a good counselor, but I'm worried that since he's being financed by your betrayer, if there's some strings attached. But you just said there's not. I'm sorry for what happened. I really wonder how their marriage will turn out, because if they're willing to cheat with you, they'll cheat on you. Anyway, that's not your concern. Yours is healing and living an awesome life. OOP says, honestly, no clue. What he wants in terms of relationship, I'm going to ask him next time we see him. I do worry he'll stop paying for therapy if I don't go no contact with him and the rest of my family. They said to me that I need to try and get better, and took a huge argument with them for me to get a new counselor when the first one practically kept implying I did something to cause my ex to cheat on me. Why is the person being cheated at the one to blame? Never. Second one was one I'm currently with, and he's pretty impartial, no judgment. He offers criticism when it's warranted, and it's constructive, not accusatory. Comment 3, I have some questions that I want to know since you made your first post. One, is your cousin trying to repair the relationship or only your mom? Is he still apologizing and begging you to be friends again, or did he give up? If so, are you willing to be friends with him again if he does a lot for you? No. Why would you do that? When he sees you, is he happy to see you? Is he thinking about the pain he caused you? OP says he seems to be trying to repair the relationship. How does he think that's going to work? He's still married to your ex. You cannot have a relationship with someone like that. He seems happy to see me, as does my ex, but I can tell they're still uncomfortable about the situation. I haven't really asked because I don't care, but I think that's what's happening, is that he's asking my mom to get me to see them. I don't plan on being friends with them ever. You could hold a gun to my head and give me the choice between pulling the trigger and being friends with them, and I'd choose the former. As for if he thinks about the pain he caused me, I don't know. I haven't asked. I really don't care. If he does feel bad, I hope it eats him alive. something about his dating life. We're not going to read that one. New update. Posted May 8th, 2026, 4 years and 2 months after the original post. Another update, maybe final one. Hello, it's been a long time. A lot has happened, and most of it is boring life stuff that you won't be interested in. I'd be surprised if it even reached 50 comments on this post, given how long it's been, but I've received messages as recent as a week ago asking about updates. I'm not in therapy anymore. I spoke to my therapist about how my family, primarily my mother, was insisting I visit my cousin and ex. I'll talk about them soon, don't worry. And he said it'd be best if I go no contact, even if it means losing access to therapy, as being made to see them could make my mental health worse, and there was a chance it could cause development of CPTSD. I went no contact and the therapist payments stopped, but I'd managed to save up money and canceled a few subscriptions to keep going for about 10 months after, which felt good enough about myself that I didn't feel like I needed therapy anymore. My cousin ended up cheating on my ex. Stalker! I was expecting it to go the other way around, to be honest, but there's poetic justice there, I suppose. What that happened about a year ago. When I heard the news, I didn't really feel anything. There was a time when the news would make me feel overjoyed, and I'd have been riding the high of her experiencing the same thing she did to me, but I think I've truly moved on. I just feel sorry for their kid. I said in my speech I hope their divorce was a messy one, and from what I've heard and seen on their social medias, it most certainly was a messy one. I don't know if they're still dealing with it. I've heard divorce proceedings could take years in some cases. I don't use social media a ton. I've only got this Reddit account and Facebook to keep in contact with non-toxic friends and family. I snoop on my cousin and ex whenever I get curious. As for me, like I said, nothing super interesting. I moved to a different city. I got an all right job. It can be stressful at times, but the folks here are great and I get on with them. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, but I haven't thought about harming myself in a long, long time, so there's that at least. So that's good. I'm glad. Thank you so much for the support over the years. I wish you the best of your lives whenever I be going on them. Comment by OOP from the newest update. Somehow my algorithm gave me your first post, followed along all the way to this one. I'm really glad to hear this update. Sometimes boring is pretty dang nice. It sounds like you had a good therapist. Halfway through reading the updates, I was getting the ick feeling from the source. Well over half the source of your PTSD was footing the therapy bill, and your mother was inserting yourself. Sounds like you disentangled well. Here's to boring for a little bit longer, then finding a bit of joy. Maybe the cat you told that one date you had to go home to and feed. Maybe get the cat. Maybe get the cat. OP says, true, I might get a cat. I like the idea of having a football with some silly name like Cosmos Obliterator or something. Reading back on that post, I really feel bad that I didn't give that one girl still hung up on her ex a proper chance. I think I was really judgmental and made up my mind too soon. No, I don't think so. I think you're good. Maybe get in touch with her again now. I think I just saw myself in her a little. I didn't like it. That's fine. Definitely hoping I get some kind of lucky break, but I won't hold my breath. I've survived this long so far. I'll make it through whatever there is to come, and be boring or not. Of course, people are skeptical that it's real, although we gave 2 updates, so why? Um, Carter Cage says, oh, he still sounds depressed. Motion says a big part of depression, as someone with chronic depression, is that you're always going to sound kind of depressed when talking about your own life. In my case, and I think OOP's case, you gotta find contentment in the small things, and that sounds boring and sad, but it's definitely better than rotting in suicidal ideation. So hopefully OOP will keep going the way he's going. And someday maybe he find peace and serenity and a woman that won't cheat on him with his cousin. Next has made me smile. First thing she does every morning, First thing my daughter does every morning is say good morning to her dog. I bet this is super cute. It looks super cute. That's so cute. Little kids are so adorable. So cute. I love it. That's all I got for today. It was 3 hours, even without the Reddit or the. And it's late now. It's like 4:15. Oh, 3 hours later. Yeah, I gotta go. Well, I think I know what I'm gonna have for dinner. But how did you like it doing that way? Let me know. Let me know. No reality. Yay. I can go watch my show now and not have to worry about it. Oh, so happy. Still gotta find this. All right, I'll do that. I will see you. I will update the description if I find that video. Take care, all of you. I love you all. I love my biddies to death. Bye. Love you all. Take care. I'll see you tomorrow at noon. I'll be on time tomorrow. Bye.